All right, hello. Oh, 7, 6, 2, 7, 9, 6, 3. I'm trying to get into. All right. Good morning, Eugenia. Hi, Janine.
It's Corey. Sorry, I still don't know how to change the name.
That's true. I always say that and I go, wait, there's no Janine.
Yeah, you're like, who's
And
this?
since I can't see you, right? Then I'm like, oh, hi, Janine. And then I go, oh, whoops. Anyway.
I can't change the name forever on this iPad, but
Yeah, I can change it for you, but think about this. If you just put now, like light press on your photo, on on yourself, on the thing that says Janine's, like your name, just press with one finger or two, and do you get like choices coming up, like when you can mute and all those things? And is it one of
No.
those give you like 3 dots, or is it maybe 2 fingers?
doesn't give me any options.
How do you do reactions on the iPad?
I go up to the,
Okay, do that. Do whatever you do to do the reactions and see if in one of those you have an option for rename.
maybe on meeting settings, would it be under that?
Yeah, well, no, it does. You don't need to go that far, but that is one place. No, it would say rename, and it's I'll have to turn on the iPad someday and check on it to see. But I'll just do it. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
Because I don't know. Actually, sometimes there's other people here with iPads, and so maybe I can ask them. So is it IE or just I? Corey? Corey?
Oh, sorry, I got muted. It's CORRIE.
IE. Okay, there you go.
Thank you.
Morning, Ellen. Nice to see you again. Back from your trip. Hi, William. And now, more correctly, hi, Corey.
Morning.
All right, head on over to the chat, you guys, and let's set that up. Meanwhile, I am connecting to Wi-Fi on my other computer, to Wi-Fi to Zoom on my other computer. And there we go. And signing it in. And those of you who are on your on VDI, hopefully you've signed in, Eugenia, this time to the Google Drive initially as a clean sign in. Okay, great. And there we go. So Corey, remind me for a second, are you why are you on your iPad? Like you're not, if you need to do work and ask and show me, you're not working on your computer, or are you working on both?
Yes, I have both.
Oh, okay. Got it. I was trying to remember, but if you need to share with me, you'll have to connect with your other computer, right? Is that how it's set up with you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay, so let's continue. I'm going to share my screen. Last week, I mean, I've got some nice attendance in my other classes, but for some reason in this class, people haven't been coming in. So I'm not gonna hang around waiting for people, because this is it. This is us. And here we go. I'm going to share from this screen. So for the most part, remember that I do my best to here we go. Make sure to, by the way, open InDesign to start with. I do my best to have you guys see me. So I have switched to this microphone, to this window here. Not microphone, how do you call it? Webcam. So now you kind of see me from underneath, which is kind of weird to me, but at least you don't have to see this black, you know, thing in my background so much anymore. So that's a little bit better. Let's put that there on the side. And yeah, I can't get it much closer than that. So that's the best I can do. All right. And I had us start with InDesign because we're going to lay out the beginnings of this project that we're going to be working with this time. And so to do that, we're going to, here we go. I'm looking at the Google Drive. Oh, because in Google Drive, I still hadn't opened the InDesign. Okay. There we go. I've had it in my personal one, but not in my Google Drive. There we go. And meanwhile, we should also open Photoshop in the background because we're going to be interacting with InDesign and Photoshop today. Okay. So on Bridge, we have some files that are if you're looking at Bridge the way I just want to correct something that I have in Bridge. When I look at my Bridge files over here, for the most part, I've been always showing them as alphabetical order, but I kind of like having all my folders at the top because they show me the material that is projects in and of themselves, and then I don't have to look for them down here. So just to you could be sorting here by different ways, and we by default have it always set at file name, but if I go to by type, then I get my folders up on top, and then I get the rest of my files. But the thing is that when I do this, it's harder for people to find their files because then it's by format, by type. So then I get my GIFs, my AIs, my other files. So then it's harder to tell people to find them in order, in alphabetical order, which is why I kind of go to sort by file name. But I just wanted to show you this because in my personal Bridge, when I use it, I kind of have my folders up there because then it's easy to go into each one for all of the files that relate to one job versus another. Okay. And so I wanted to show you guys this folder called Discover New Zealand. So anyway, I'm going to go back to my file name and just showing you that because there's just easier ways to find files and stuff by using this. I'm going to go by file name again. And we're going to head down to the D then to Discover New Zealand and open that up. And there's oh, this is the, I thought I had my final one here. No, this might not work. I wanted it. Let me see if I have them in my own computer. I'm looking for the files to show you. Give me 1 second. I thought I had given them to you, but I'm noticing that I don't have the initial, like the before, to show you how it will be, but I do have them in my computer. So give me a sec while I pull it up from my class files. Sorry about that. And graphic classes. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to, wow, I don't know what I did with the files. Okay, I think this is the one. Is this the one I mean? Okay, I'm gonna open it and hope that's the one I mean. Don't update links. Skip, and maybe this is not the one I meant. That's why I'm confused. Yeah, it's got a different name. Yeah, so this was not the one I meant. I see now why I was confused because it's not Discover New Zealand. All right. Let me go back. It had a different name. How confusing is that? So I was going to show you a project that we were going to be doing, and I thought it had this name, and I am completely confused. It's not the one. So let me back out. Let me go and do this folder. I'm sorry, somehow the name of the, okay. This is not the one I was thinking it. Maybe I didn't put it in the digital design techniques folder. I thought you guys had it. Would it be this one? No. Okay, you know, I might have not given you the files. That's okay. Well, then I'm going to skip over to this one, to the one that's called Demi-Task. That one you do have, because I had that one here from before, Demi-Task postcard folder. Go ahead and double click on that one. I think if I do decide that we want to do that, then I'm going to work on that, but this was not necessarily, anyway, never mind. Here we go. You do have this one, right? The Demi-Task folder in the class files?
I don't see that in mine.
Let me go in. You know what? Let me do this. I'm going to go into the VDI, because in VDI, I know exactly what you have, because those are the class files. So maybe I have a different folder linked. Maybe that was my problem. Maybe on my personal, my Mac bridge, I have a different group of class files. So that's probably what's happening. Okay, so now let me sort by type and let me see my folders. I didn't give you the class folders. Nope. Okay, so then, oh, there they're coming. Yeah.
Diana, we do have a
You do have them.
Discover New Zealand.
There's the New Zealand, yeah. And there's but you don't have the Demi-Task, I see. So what am I don't know what I'm seeing in my personal computer, because I do need to see it looks like the folder that I put in my, that I've linked in my, because I show you my Mac VDI has a different set of folders, because I do see that you don't have everything that I have up here. So I'm going to have to figure out, but never mind. So then I'm going to focus on what's in here in the bridge that everyone else has. Sorry about that. Quite a confusing beginning. I apologize. All right. I know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to do that after break. Maybe I'll give you guys some class files, because I can easily spin and have you practice on a different file, what I wanted you to practice today. But I was in my brain, I had it that we were going to do that. But because I only checked my own files and I didn't check on the VDI, I apologize for that. All right. So let me see who else arrived. Hi, Saul. So let's forget about that for a minute. And you do have then, if you have these files right here, even though you don't have the folder called Demi-Task or whatever, let me go here and put in by file name again, sort by file name. Then what you do have though is the files that are going to let me do that project. And last week we created these, we created a basic file that, where's my Google Drive? I forget that I'm on, I need to put a quick link to my Google Drive there. And in my drive, we saved in the summer class files. And I know that you weren't all here, that's okay. But I'm just trying to confirm that I'm looking at the right files. So I'm going up here. I have to, these are my digital spring 2023 summer. Download Photoshop. Where do I have these? Download. I apologize. This is weird. Download class files, DDT. Is this it? Yeah, that's correct. All right. So then in my drive, I don't have it saved. I apologize. I don't know what's happening to the files that we created last week. I must have done them in my dreams. I don't know where I could have done them. I'm just going to open up the InDesign from here because I do know I have them here, and then ask you guys to see if that's what you have. So first of all, basically, this is the class. This is what we did last week. We placed an image and moved it around, right? Something that we'll replicate right now. But do you guys have this one? And you can go to your recents to open it up. At this point, it would be Eugenia and William and Corey. And so we were just bringing in a photo and we placed it in many different ways. And we were looking at the links, and we were looking at the actual versus effective PPI, that kind of thing. And so we had placed the images a few times, and it's okay if you don't have it, we can just do that. Because I'm going to do it as a quick review, because we're going to kind of continue working on how we're going to work with images as they come in. But you could just open that one. If not, and since you do have the class files downloaded though, Alan, right? If I ask you to look for this file.
Yes, I have the files, but I haven't had time to review what I missed because of my travels.
No, I know that's fine, but I know that you've done this in general before, so it won't be completely new to you. All right, so Saul has the file. William, what's that? Not in design?
No.
Okay, well then, thanks for reminding me. Thanks for reminding me then, because I saw, but the Illustrator, yes, but not in design, right?
Right.
Okay. Eugenia, did you find the file that we did here? William, did you find this file? Yeah, okay. So, and then Corey, you said no, right?
yes, no, I did find it. I have it.
Oh, all right, good. Okay, so now, basically, I'm going to, make a quick review here of what we've done, but, just to have Alan catch up, can you just go ahead and make a new file? Just say file new. And then all we have right here is choose print. Let me know if you're ready to follow. In design, are you having?
An InDesign file, a new InDesign file.
Yeah. When you see this window, let me know.
Have to. I just.
You know what? Why don't you tell me when you're ready? I don't want to put you on the spot.
I just opened InDesign for the first time.
Oh, okay. And if it's the first time, it's telling you all these like, oh, new, welcome. And so just close those windows. And then when you're done,
Okay.
you'll get to this window, right? And you won't have anything on here that's,
Okay.
new.
Okay, I have a new letter window on InDesign on a second computer, not on one that you can see.
That's okay. So then go ahead and say new file.
Well, I have I opened a new file that's blank.
Well, don't open a blank new file. I first am trying to show you what settings to set it to. When you say new file, then you here have to do some settings. So close that one that you opened, and then choose inches, just to take you to the same spot that the rest of us are in. Switch over here to inches if you're not. You probably are not. Oh, choose here print. If you guys want to remember how to set up a file, you can do this too. I'm just having him do a basic opening, so I'm not going to spend much more time here. Do you see the choice for print?
No. Whether start a new file fast, I could click on letter, or if I just
but
click on new file.
You're looking at this then? I'm not sure. Do you see the new file,
Yes.
big new file there?
Okay.
When you click on that, then you get this window, right?
I didn't get it yet.
tell me what you're seeing then, because if you can't share your screen, you're gonna have to speak and describe what you're seeing so that I can help you.
Well, it just came to default. Default file, not a choice of files.
Yeah, but I don't need any of that. If you see this thing, I want you to click on the word print right there.
Okay. Okay, I got that screen.
Good. Then go over to this column over here and go ahead to the units and change it to inches.
Units, inches, okay.
And then down here, skip the rest of it. I believe we have only one page on that one. And then in we left the margins at half, but we added some bleed. So go down all the way to bleed.
Bleed,
Do you see that?
okay.
Bleed and slug.
Oh, 0.5 inches, I'll change that.
No, margins is fine. Leave it at 0.5.
No, the bleed, right?
No, that was margins. Bleed, we're
margins.
gonna click one time up on this little arrow to do 0.125.
Yes, got it,
Got it, and then just say create.
got it.
Right, so that's it. So at least you have this document that we're working with right now. That's all. I just want to make sure I didn't have any other pages on this one. Oh, we had set it up for 4 pages. Okay, so then I'm wrong. So go back to go up to file and document setup. Sorry, I needed to have you add 4 pages. That was my bad.
Document setup, okay.
File document setup, and then you'll have these choices again. And let's over here say number of pages 4.
Okay.
That's the only change you'll need to make, and then make sure that this is turned on.
Facing pages, that's on, yep.
Yeah, and then say okay.
Okay.
All right, so now you have the same thing that we have. You don't have any files in right now, but anything in it, but you have a document. Okay, so yes, give me a second, Corey, while I finish making sure that that he's caught up with what we're doing. Over here on the workspace, we started with essentials and then we added some things. So click on essentials first. And if you have that, I'm gonna reset essentials. This should be the window that you have, right? You have it like this.
Oh,
No, you don't have, you'll be here. You are here already. We changed it and I'm trying to get you to change yours.
okay, I reset essentials.
Okay. So now what I need us to do is to go up to window and add links. And
Yeah.
guys, I'm sorry that I'm running over this again with Alan a little bit. He's someone who always comes to class and stuff. And so I need to make sure, because there's so few of us, I want to make sure he's there. So now that you added links, see how you got an extra little column over here?
Yes, I see it.
Right. Now go grab from the side, go grab the pages and grab it from the word pages and just drag it in here and dock it right under that. And that gives us pages. And then we're going to have properties on this side and then links and pages. And that's
I missed that. I have pages. How do I dock?
okay. So grab from the word, put your mouse on the word key for pages, and then you can drag it around and then put your mouse right here under this link area. When you see blue right there, let it go and it'll move itself there. Okay, did that work?
Pages.
So now you should have these 3 icons there.
There.
Let me know if you're there.
No,
You saw pages and what happened? Just explain, because if not, I'm waiting to have you say yes. But if you don't say no, I don't know if it's your yes or no.
I lost the pages link I have.
All right. So did it kind of end up being something like this? Or something like that? And if you think you lost it, you know what? This is for everyone. If you think you lost it and you don't see it anymore, the best thing to do is go back to that window where you pick them all up and then go and click on pages again, and it'll pop up wherever it is that you put it or didn't put it or lost it or didn't lose it.
Yeah, I
Hmm.
clicked on page.
So now,
Now I have that.
now you have it. Okay,
Right, I have
so what's happening is we're going to target this. We're going to put our mouse on this little portion here, and it's going to go blue. But I'm going to do it carrying the word pages. So wherever your pages appeared, we're going to drag it over here, and it won't turn blue until my mouse, the word pages, is in that corner. So now that I'm here, see how it turns blue?
Oh,
And
got
I'm going
it.
to just dock it in there.
Yep, got
Okay.
it.
Okay. And then something the rest of us did is we went and created, we called it new workspace, and we just called it digital design workspace. I called it DDT workspace, whatever, digital design techniques class workspace, call it whatever you want to call it, and then say, okay.
Okay.
All right. And so that's where everyone else is. I'm in that one. So is everyone there, right? You all did that workspace, you guys, last
Yep.
week? You were all here,
Yes.
Corey and
Yes.
Eugenia and William. Okay, great. So now we have our window set up with the main tools that we're going to be needing. All right. Now here we were practicing some stuff that we're gonna review right now. So as we review it, you get to do it for the first time. But first of all, I just wanted to remind you guys that down here, this pages, if you click on it, it'll show you. And yeah, at first it kind of shows kind of small, so you might need to push it out to stretch it out a little bit, but it shows you the layout of the pages. And what's happening here? Oh, sorry. Start to sneeze. Oh. Oh God, what's the worst of a sneeze is not sneezing. You know, it's like either sneeze or don't not sneeze, but the in between is very frustrating. So what's happening here is that we're seeing the cover, the inside spread, and the back. And
Uh-huh.
so I'm going to stop my share for a second so that you can see me
I have
here
only-
on my image. So can you see my photo of me right now? This is a little booklet,
Yeah.
right? That's a 4-page booklet. So this would be page 1 or the cover. This is the spread, and this is the back page. Yeah, it looks like you have something to say.
I have only one page and one spread showing. I don't
Oh,
know how.
But that's what I had you fix by going to the page
I thought
layout.
I changed-
Okay, so go again to File, Document Setup.
uh, document setup, yeah. Okay, and number of pages, I'll change it to 4.
Yeah, so when you do that, change it to 4. Make sure that it says facing, and then you have to say okay to that. Right?
I did, okay,
Good.
so I know how.
And so now when you go to pages, you'll have the
Yes,
4.
I have that.
Anyway, and I don't need to stop my share again. You saw, I believe, what I was sharing. It's just a little tiny booklet. And so this is how it presents. The cover seems to be a single page. Then when you open it up, the pages 2 or 3 are what we call a spread or facing pages. And then the last page is a single page as well. 99.9% of the times we don't open something like this and see the back and the front page together. You don't do that to magazines, to anything, unless you're reading a book and you're laying it down flat because you're in the middle of reading it. But that's the only time you really see cover and back cover. You know what I mean? Most of the
Yep.
times you see them individually, and that's how Illustrator InDesign presents itself here. Okay. So before I keep going much further, I want to see what you guys posted, because one of the homeworks that you had was that you needed to work a little bit on your business card. And what we did last class, let me see over here, we also created another document where we kind of made a basic business card, and this is my screenshot of it, where I had you guys working on placing the images, moving it around. So we did quite a bit of work with that. That said, I wanted to see what you guys had posted. And so I seen someone posted something new this week this morning. Okay, so you. Oh, Corey, I thought I knew one of you guys had asked the question. You needed to find where to find the link files
Yeah,
resolution.
I couldn't see the resolution number. I couldn't remember where
Yeah,
where
you
that's
need, you don't,
located.
but I'm concerned because it looks like you don't have the same thing that I had Alan just set up. You don't have here, so you don't have the links.
No, I do now. I
Oh.
didn't when I posted this morning, but I just got it set up right now.
Got it. So now
yeah.
that's where you find it. Because I remember that I knew that I had to answer a question and that was the one. Okay, so now when you do have the links open, then when you open the links panel, that's where you see the resolution. You need to be selecting one of the photos, you know, whichever one you're looking for. And then that links icon there is the one that gives you the place.
Okay, got it. I see it.
Okay,
Yep.
and then Eugenia, over here, I see that you have the layers and the links panel, but I don't see underneath that the pages one, which what I was just showing Alan how to do. So I just want to, when I don't have you guys having the same page than me, then when I do something, I go, I can't find it and whatever. So I just want to make sure that we all have it set up the same way, right? So at least in the screenshot you did, I do not see you having this over here, Eugenia. Is that still the way it is? Okay, so that means that you still probably have your pages up here. Is that where you have your pages?
I open it now and it's there. So maybe when you open, I don't know.
Oh, okay. All right.
When-
Then maybe when whenever you did your screenshot, you didn't have it, but maybe you have it now. Okay,
Yeah.
as long as you have it, that's okay.
Okay.
That's all. I was looking, partly these screenshots help me like see what your guys' computer setup is. And then over here, you didn't have it, and that's why I was concerned. Lauren's gonna be late or come at the very end today, but see how she did a screenshot that doesn't show me that stuff. So at least at the beginning, when I'm trying to see if your setups are correct, next time you do a screenshot of everything that's in the panel so that I can just make sure and confirm that everyone's got the setups correct, right? It looks like she has it. I can't tell, but I was just showing you how if I wouldn't be able to tell. So make sure to always get all that stuff. All right, and then I see that Saul, you created something new that I hadn't checked. Oh, you posted it this morning. That's why. It's interesting because remember in the, none of your, if you're not in the Illustrator class, you won't see it, but in Illustrator, and this is not the Illustrator class, but this is his Illustrator app. He created a flag, 2 flagpoles and another design, and now he repurposed them to create this, which is awesome. But I don't want to spend too much time here with this because it's way beyond the levels of Illustrator that I've taught to this group. So go and post this one again, please, in the Illustrator. Leave this one here, it's great, but go ahead and post it also in the Illustrator Padlet, because that's where I can show people the development of what you did from last class to this class. So cool. All right. So I was just trying to catch that up. And then Corey, I did see that you're all set up and correct. So you're fine. That's why I'm not, necessarily saying anything. All right, good. We're ready to continue. So now back to InDesign. Now we should all have the layout looking the same. Okay. That your pages are available there and that your links are available there. So now open the links for a second. Oh, you don't have anything linked, Alan. So let me first have you, and this is good practice for everyone. Let's put in a file here. And since this is a review, can somebody tell me how I brought in a file? What would be, what do I need to do right now to bring in a photo into my InDesign layout?
Control D.
Yeah, that's the shortcut. Control or Command D. And what does it stand for?
For paste.
Place.
For paste. Yeah. No. Control D. She said Control D. And what does it stand for? Control
Place.
Control V is paste.
Oh,
Control
yeah,
D
yeah.
for my
I
name,
say paste,
Diana.
yeah. I say paste is
Control or
place. It's
okay.
P.
It's place. Okay. File place, Control or Command D. It is not paste. Oh, I think I heard paste and you said place. Okay. Control or Command D. So let's go up to File Place. Right. And then we go to the class files, but this is where I was getting in trouble because I think you had told me that maybe these were not this is, okay. So in the class files, we were going to, hold on, I don't have them in alphabetical order. At the very top, see, this is where I think I'm running into trouble. These are not, this is where I'm getting into trouble. These are not these are Photoshop. I don't know where I have my, I'm having the same problem I had this morning. These are Photoshop. These are Illustrator. Where do I have? I'm
The
in
design,
downloads.
digital.
Yeah, maybe I left it here in the downloads. Yeah. Or date added. Summer digital sign techniques. June 2021. These are them. Is it them? Yes, finally I found them. God, I was so confused about where these files were. I just had them in a weird place. Okay, here they are. So if you clicked on the right class files, you should be seeing this. And so this one is the one that we had used before. And now let's go use this one here, the AA_nitro brew. Does everyone see that one?
Yes,
Did you find it, Alan?
No, I'm looking for the class files.
Maybe they're in your downloads folder like mine was. Usually I move them out, but and if you know what, if you didn't download them yet, go to any photograph that you have. You have a JPEGs everywhere, Alan. And then during the break, I'll help you find your files, because right now all we need is a photo. Okay, so go choose a JPEG from anywhere. It really doesn't matter.
Okay.
And then I'm going to say open.
I found a photo, so I have to find a way to.
So Alan, I want to continue. Just choose any JPEG. It doesn't matter which. Just choose a JPEG from, and you have a ton of JPEGs on your computer. For this part, just find a JPEG. I don't care if it's the right photo. It's completely insignificant if it's which photo it is. It's how to place them that matters. Okay, so now notice that in InDesign, what you end up having is you don't have a photo yet laid out. You just have your hand carrying that image around, right? And I'm going to have us, even with this being in my hand, it stays there. I'm going to have us click on our pages and head down to the 2 and 3. So I'm going to double click on page 2 right there. And then I'm going to move this out. And so now this is page 2. Did that work out for you guys? That way of switching around to go to page 2. I'm going to, okay, so that's what we did. We went over here and notice that after moving around and closing again, it's still hanging out on my hand. I haven't done anything with it yet. And if perchance you already did drop it or do something with it, say Command or Control Z and it'll pick up again. So now with this mouse carrying my photo, what's going to happen if I do a single click? This is review again for the guys who were here last week. What's going to happen if I do a single click?
It will drop it at the size that it is the picture.
Yeah. So I'm going to put my mouse anywhere over here and just single click, boom. And I don't get given a choice of how big that photo is. It just drops in, right? Now, to see what happened with the PPI, to see if it's ready to be printed, I need to go over here to the links. Now, first, before I continue, Alan, everyone, did you get a file that you dropped in?
I dropped the photo in, but it's much too large for.
Yeah, that's fine. This one happens to be so large, but that's the whole point. When you first drop it, maybe you're seeing a little bit of the sky. Who knows? It's like huge, because that's what happens when you single click. It comes in humongous, right? And so how big and how useful that will be to us, usually not much. Show the contrast of what we should do. But first, let's go over to the links panel, and that, you know, icon will be selected, and it's probable that this is kind of small for you, Alan, the first time. So go ahead and drag it open. And then down here, you're going to have the metadata for this file.
I don't see the links panel.
Okay, so over here, I know that you said
Oh,
that this
yes.
looked just like mine. So the one that looks like a little chain,
Oh, I got it. Yeah.
that's the links. Yeah.
Okay.
And then usually it comes in kind of small like this. So you need to grab it and make it bigger. Okay, so that you can actually see.
Okay. I'm
And
with
for those of you who do have last week's class information, here you might see only one AA beans up there, but it might say a number 2 or 3, depending on how many times you dropped it in. But see how there's a little arrow that collapses them. So I'm gonna open that. And these are each individual time that I dropped that image. See what I mean? And over here, it's telling me that they're always in page 1, and this one is in page 2.
Oh.
See that there? So I know you only have one right now, Alan, but just this is yours says.
one on page 3.
Okay, well, that's fine. You went to page 3 with it, and then it'll say page 3 right here. Now, let's go over here, and of this image that we dropped, it says our name. It's the metadata that we were seeing in Bridge. And this is the part that's interesting, because the same stuff that Bridge is showing us for that image over here, and which is the one that I dropped, this one here, Nitra Brewing, in Bridge, I usually show people how to find out all the metadata right here to, you know, to discover, well, I guess that can be open, to discover the resolution, what kind of information it has. This is driving me crazy. This has changed, and it's not letting me scroll up and down in here. Doesn't show me all the information. This is something that I came upon last time when I was teaching, when I was trying to demo this. But anyway, here it's telling me that this file that we brought in was 72 PPI. If it was 72 PPI, at least as is, it wasn't ready for printing straight as is. We would have had to do something to it. And when we bring it into InDesign, it's telling me then that the actual PPI is actually 72. You see that? It's telling me that PPI that it has. But there's another thing here called effective PPI. And depending on, you know, for most of us, it probably says something like 144, maybe it's a little bit bigger or smaller. It kind of doubled the size, not the size, it doubled the way it's presenting the PPI. And so now the dimensions are in pixels, and all we know is that if we have to print this page right now, will this be a good print?
No, it will not.
And why?
Needs to be at least 300.
Yeah, and we're basically effectively at half of that, right? So when it first drops in, you don't have control of what's going to happen, how it's going to come in. You know, you're kind of in this big like question mark, right? So let's go ahead, and I'm going to close this links panel. And as long as I haven't done anything else, the last thing I did was drop this photo. So now I'm going to do Control or Command Z, and it'll come back into my hand, and we're going to drop it a different way. That's why I wasn't too worried that it was humongous, Alan, because so if you have a small photo, it'll show up as big as ours did. You happen to bring in a big photo and it showed up humongous, but it showed up as big as it could. Now, did the Control or Command Z put the photo back in your hand, I'm going to call it, but in your mouse? Yeah.
Yes.
Now this time we're going to do a more controlled drop. We're going to put it inside the margins right here. We're going to click inside the margins right there and drag. And we're going to take this image from margin to margin and let go. So now we chose how big this one was going to be. Did that work for everyone? Let me clean out the end. You know, I don't have I don't have open the things to clean out your, give me a second. I need to give you, let me stop my share for a second because I need to open another. No, I don't need to stop my share. Actually, I can do it this way. I want to start implementing again, you guys giving me a yes or a no with the reactions. That way I'll know whether I should continue or not. So if you were able to control how to drop it now, then give me a yes. And then while you guys are waiting, I'm noticing that only 3 of you guys went to the chat and gave a little show, posted a little thing, and that helps for attendance for me. So can you please, Eugenia and Corey, when you have a minute. Oh, and by the way, I changed your name to Corey, but I noticed that you need to remind me, I need to put your last name, which is the whole point.
Oh,
Ward.
Ward,
Yeah,
W-A-R-D.
there we go. All right. Okay, so Alan, how can I help you?
Well, I didn't get rid of the old picture.
All right.
Just
So let's just do this. I see you busily working. And what's the rule in Photoshop too? When something doesn't work, what's the rule? You undo. If you undo or do whatever it is that I've told you to do and it doesn't work, the rule is tell me immediately, right?
Okay.
Because then you've probably done 10 other things in between trying to find it. And then a simple undo doesn't do the job anymore, right? Because who knows what's happening there.
Yeah, Control D got rid of the picture. Now I have an empty page.
Okay, so now go and file place again and bring that same photo in again or any other photo. So do file place, select it again. It'll be exactly where you left it. So what happened there, guys, is by doing things in between, when he did the Control, Z, that photo wasn't in his hands anymore. So remember that it worked for us because we had just dropped it. In fact, if I now do Control Command Z immediately, there it is again in my hands, right? But if in between I did a bunch of other stuff, it's like the computer already goes like, okay, you dropped it, and it doesn't necessarily come in again. All right. So right now, if I drop it and don't like where I dropped it, all I need to do is pick it up again and reposition it. So now if it's in your fingertips, Alan, this time, instead of simply clicking, which is what we did last time, if I simply click, it comes in at some size. And in our case, it's like this. In your case, it was humongous. But if I click and drag, and I went from margin to margin, now I've controlled what size I put this photo in here. I've been able to control. Now,
that worked.
That worked. Now let's look at the links and go, is it any better? Is it ready to be
A
printed?
little better.
Yeah, tiny bit better. It was 144 before, now it's 184. For us, for Alan, who knows what yours shows up. Since you had a humongous picture, if you made it go from side to side, yours probably now, effective PPI is probably bigger than 300 or at 300, right?
Let me find, let's see. Yeah, well, I have a PPI 72. My dimension is 4032 by 3024. And
What's the effective PPI?
effective is still 72, actual.
Oh, but you dropped it small instead of humongous?
Yeah, I dropped it to fit the page, just like you did.
And it still says effective, it says actual and effective the same way?
Yeah, it said that.
You know what? You must have gotten a different image, because if you just told me your dimension is 400 and something, that's
4,000.
really, 4,000.
4032 by.
So your effective PPI should definitely have gone up.
Well, it never went up.
Okay, that's bizarre. And this is where I wish you could share the screen you're working on, because I need to see what's happening. Because
Yeah,
anyway,
I might be able to log in with the other computer if I can.
yeah, and go ahead and do that. But right now, hold on. Right now, don't worry too much about that. I'm going to show you how to move images around. And then when you, during break or something like that, try to log in with the other computer, unless we're really stuck and can't continue, because I do need to keep moving on with some new stuff. So right now, if I say Command or Control Z again and pick it up again, if I click and drag and just make it a little teensy weensy image, just kind of bing, I don't know, it's tiny. If I look here at the rulers, it's about, 2.5 inches or something. Now, when I click on it, I have an actual PPI of 72. That's still there. The image hasn't been changed, but effective PPI, it's gone up to like, huge, right? Because I am making this photo so tiny that all those pixels that I have are crunching themselves into this 2.5 inches here. Thus, it's like, yeah, I'm fine. I'm more than fine. I have 576 of my pixels are fitting inside of each inch. Does that make sense? So by resizing it this way, we are and so I'm going to, let's do it one more time, Command and Control Z. Now I'm going to do, about yay big. And now I'm going to look at it. And so I just wanted to show you how the PPI keeps changing. Now, if that's not working for you, Alan, then for now, I'm not going to work on it. But that's the whole point of why we're changing the size. As I make this file bigger, so now this one is a 5-inch file side by side, then my 1,382 pixels that I have there have to fit into 5 inches. So when you divide this by that, and we're not doing the math, Illustrator's doing it, Design is doing it for us, this number of pixels divided by the 5 inches that this image is, it gives me that it's packed in, of all those pixels got packed in, that there's 272 of them per inch.
Okay, it
Okay.
works now. I got it working now.
Perfect.
I
So
reduced it from to a smaller size, and the effective now went up to 538.
great. So is this one printable down at 272, you guys?
Could be a
And-
little better.
Could be, if I'm really picky, I want it to be 300, but this is not bad. This is good. This is fine. Now, if this was a high-end coffee table demonstrating my amazing photography, yeah, I want to go as perfect. I'm going to get my biggest image. I'm going to print it as best as I can and all of that. But if this is a booklet, if this is a brochure, if this is some advertising or whatever, this is more than good enough. And remember, this is only because we said we're printing it. If we were actually putting it in the web, 72 would have been fine, right? So anyway, yeah, so basically it was not under our control to do that though, because we just kept like picking it up and dropping it and guessing. And so how do we make sure that we drop it if we want to drop it at 300 or something like that? Now it seems like I got it almost there, 298, but everyone's doing their own click and drag, and it's like kind of hard to tell. So from wherever it is, I'm going to make it, I'm going to make it a bit bigger again, like that, from margin to margin. So from wherever this image is, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hold the corner, and I'm going to hold just Command and Shift, and I'm going to resize it proportionally. The shift is to resize it proportionally. Okay. And the command on the corner is to keep the frame with the content and the frame connected. And Alan, you might not know what that means. Hopefully the rest of you guys remember what I mean a little bit, but that's what we're going to practice a bit more now. So Command and Shift. So for PC users, it's Control and Shift. We can move both frame and content at the same time. And the shift is really important, because if you distort it, there's no coming back, right? It'll look just woozy. And we can now look at this number and target it. So I'm going to say that I want to target to make it be exactly 300 or almost 300. So I can make it bigger and smaller. I can see it's too small. I can make it a bit bigger, and 214, any corner, by the way, or even the sides works, because it opens. I'm accustomed to doing things from the corner, but you can move it from the sides, from anywhere. As long as you're holding Shift, it keeps moving proportionally. And then anyway, so I'm going to kind of do this until I find my 300 PPI, right? So I'm just kind of keep doing it to teach you, not because it took me that long, but just to show you that no matter which side we're doing, the smaller it gets, of course, my effective PPI, the bigger it gets, the bigger my photo gets. And don't let go ever yet at this point of your shift, or you're messing up with the photo. Then the bigger the photo gets, the smaller it gets. And I can even go bigger. I can make it go bigger than it came in, right? I can make it humongous. I don't want to lose it here. And then it goes even lower, right? So let me just now move it back in. I need to move it to the side here a little bit and back in. I'm having a moment where I'm going to just make it smaller and smaller. And if finally, I'm going to choose something that will be printable. So 246, let me make it a little bit bigger now. I'm actually going to target 300. So let me target 300. Oops, I needed to go smaller. I'm sorry. My brain is somewhere else. 233, 248, 270. Actual 303. So anyway, that's about right? 303. I don't know, it's impossible to target it exactly. 303 is fine. If I do it a tad bigger, 293, that's fine. That's near enough, right? If I need to be exact. So now I'm at 293, which is almost 300. Now I let go of my mouse and now I can move it around. Okay. So now this is telling me that this is as big as this photo can go if we're going to print it at its highest quality. Okay. So the main point here isn't so much that it's more like learning to control your frame and your image comfortably. And that's what we were trying to achieve here. All right, Corey. Yep.
I'm having trouble resizing it without distorting it. Like
Are you holding down your shift key all the time?
yes, and if I'm on a Mac keyboard, it's shift and command. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Shift and command, and then grab any of the corners. I traditionally get the bottom one.
Shift and command.
Mhm.
It's not doing it.
You need to be in the black arrow key. I don't know, maybe you
Yeah.
changed arrow key. Okay. Shift and command, and then
It's only
Yeah.
changing the size of the frame, not the photo.
and you're sure you're not in the white arrow key.
Let me
Make
see.
sure you're in the black arrow key.
It's black.
Okay, so click away
Mm-hmm.
and reselect it because maybe
Okay.
there's some internal. Now shift command and
So
start
first I
moving.
put the arrow on. Okay. Or put the corner on and then
Yeah.
shift and command.
Okay, and then grab any
Maybe
corner.
that is magnified too much.
No, it's not. Oh, it's so frustrating. Okay.
So can you share connect to Zoom with your other computer and then share, because this should be kind of a for sure kind of shortcut. So I need to see what's happening.
Yeah.
Are you on VDI?
Yeah.
Okay, that's why you're on VDI. Remember that when you're on VDI, even if you're a Mac user, you're really on a PC. You're on a Windows computer on VDI. So you need to be doing Control Shift.
Okay.
Okay, so don't forget that. VDI people, when I say, oh, you're on a Mac and a PC, you need to say VDI or PC.
Shift control. I'm still having it get distorted.
That happened to me, and I think that is because you have the image two in your front instead of going,
No,
farther.
let me explain.
Maybe.
Yeah, but let me
The black
explain.
arrow.
I've got the black arrow for
Okay,
sure.
stop.
Okay.
I'm opening the file here. Give me 1 second because 1 second. I need to open the file that we're working on and then I will be able to help you. So give me a sec. Is it this one? Place links in PPI. Oh, well, this is the one that I did last session, but it still works. So here's what's up. When you're a Mac user like me, and you are using a PC, right here, let me just copy this one and move it. Do I have another? Let me just delete the other stuff that's here. Just to have it look a bit like what we're doing. So it doesn't matter which image we're in right now, it's just having an image, right? So when you're on a Mac, the shortcut works really well. But when you're on a PC, and I was battling this one last session, when you use the control and the shift key, it tries to give you this, which is a menu, which is very frustrating. So what could be happening is that it's not working well for you for the same reason that it wasn't working for me. So
Mhm.
last week when I was running through this, I was first, let me see, what did I do? I found a solution. I had first selected it. Then I held down the shift key. And this is what's happening to you, see?
Yeah,
Getting
yeah.
the frame separated.
Or else it gets distorted,
Then
one or the other.
Yeah, so let's do it first with this. No. Control. I'm trying to see, I had found a way to make it work. Okay, so here it's getting distorted, but it's moving correctly, which is happening to you. But let me see if I first start moving it and click, I'm clicking on control. I'm trying. I think I figured this out last week. First click on the control, then click and then hold shift. And then it began to work. It was kind of like getting a whole like dance procedure done. So let me show you this again. I
Oh
know.
my gosh,
And
this
it's
is
got,
so
it's
complicated.
just, no, it's just has to do, it's the only shortcut that's complicated. And it's a VDI issue with the Mac, okay? It's the only
Uh-huh.
shortcut that's complicated. It's not like a complicated thing to do. It's just that it's weird on VDI. So you select the image first, okay? Then hold down the control key.
Okay.
Then click on the corner
Mm-hmm.
and now click on the shift.
Okay.
Now you can start moving it. It's just like a little dance of which goes first.
Okay.
Because the computer
So
then goes,
control
oh,
first.
this is not
Uh-huh.
a right click, this is that. All right, is it working for you now?
Yes, I got it. I did it at least once. Let me try it again.
Okay,
Control.
so VDI, this is the shortcut.
Oh,
the only-
shoot.
and all the
no,
things I
didn't work.
teach. Yeah, so again, maybe write it down. First, first you do the control key, which is
Okay.
equivalent to our command. Then you click on the corner or on the side on whatever
Okay.
handle.
Uh-huh.
And now if you pull, it'll distort, right? So just think about what each thing does and what the
Shit.
control key tells it to stick together,
Oh,
frame
shoot
and
it.
content. Then hold down the corner and then go, oh, and I need to keep it constrained. So then you hold the shift. And it's kind of a good learning lesson for everyone to know what each one of these things we're pressing does. The shift keeps it constrained. And the controller, the command, is connecting frame and content. If I don't hold control and command, my frame goes one way, my content goes the other. So the control and the command keeps them together, right? And the shift keeps it proportional. All right. So
I
Corey,
still can't do
if
it.
you know
It's
what,
still
if
not
it
working.
doesn't, you know what, here, do not worry, truly, because if that's
Okay.
the only issue, it's a VDI thing. It's not you, it's not a
Yeah.
problem that you're having.
Okay.
So today we're gonna work a little bit differently with it. I'm gonna actually show you a bit of a different option of how we can fit these things, okay? So Alan, I do see that you connected with your other computer. So if you have something you want to share with me now, or is it working for you now?
I think I could try to share something. I have to.
Mhm. You can't share until I stop sharing, so you need to warn me.
Yeah.
There we go.
I didn't accept audio for the other computer.
Don't worry, don't worry. You don't need audio. You don't. If you do, then it'll get all like. So
Yeah, I
we don't accept it. Say no, continue without audio.
Okay, now I have two screens on this other computer. So you want me to share something?
Well, did you have something you wanted to show me?
Um,
Or had it worked? If it worked for you, you don't need to share right now.
no, I guess I don't need to share. Well,
If you don't need to share, we'll continue. And then when you need it, we'll make it work.
okay.
Okay. So for now, don't, if you've got it, if it worked, the control or command shift in your case, because you're a Mac person worked, then don't worry. Don't bother to share with me. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to share mine again and keep going. All right. So now I'm in this is my PC version. It doesn't matter because what I'm teaching you, it's not the same document. It doesn't matter. It was just about placing. I'm going to continue though with the Mac one for now. Hold on. There we go. With the Mac one for now, just because here's where I have it set up the way I was trying to show you. So now that's kind of random, right? To do that this way. I mean, it's good. It gave you control over the image, but it's a little bit random because we need this image to work and we were hoping to use it for a brochure. And in the end, is this really going to work? If my brochures, you know, or a flyer say that this is an 8.5 by 11 flyer, is this going to work? No, it won't. So the whole point of this is that maybe, and I can make it a tad bigger actually to get to 300. I'm looking at that down there. Okay, 302, that's good enough. This could have been prevented by checking this out in Bridge, right? When I selected this image, I could have already been able to tell here, if it's 72 PPI, how many pixels does it have? And when your brain begins to kind of work the right way, so to say, you can immediately tell that this is going to be a pretty small image, but you still don't have that experience because, you know, all these are just like numbers that don't mean anything to you. So where we do a lot of this work is in Photoshop. If we want to use this image at, say, for some reason, it needs to be 8.5, it needs to be a, you know, an 8 by 10 photo. That's kind of how it needs to be. Then a good way to test whether this is going to be a good 8 by 10 photo is to first open it in Photoshop. So we're going to go ahead and, I mean, I wouldn't need to because I can look at these numbers and I know, but I wouldn't know exactly how big it's going to be either. But if I use the Photoshop tools, it will tell me exactly where it needs to be. So let's go back to Bridge and double click on it and open it up. And again, Alan, you can do it with any image that you have. Open an image in Photoshop. William, I like that kind of like the sound booth, the film booths that you've made yourself. I tried at the beginning when I first started teaching online. I had this thing that I ran under me and whatever, but it just kept falling. And then I kept having like, I was suffocating in it. It was just like, so I finally gave up and now you guys see everything. But yeah, it looks like you managed to make it work pretty well. All right. So I'm waiting for everyone to open this in Photoshop. And how I did that again is by going to Bridge and just double clicking it. And since it's a JPEG, it opened in Photoshop, right? And I had told you before to have Photoshop ready to go. So that's how we're doing it. Okay. So in Bridge, you're opening it in Photoshop. And let me find.
I've never used the Photoshop and it's telling me, to download it.
No, you're in VDI. Where are you opening your files from? In VDI, go to Bridge.
Okay, yeah, got it.
You're probably doing it from a different place. So go to Bridge, look at your photo and double click on it. And within Bridge, the only option it has is to kick Photoshop open. So it'll sit here and it'll go, okay. And if Photoshop was already open, it'll open quickly. But if not, like in my VDI, I didn't have Bridge still open. So now it's opening it. And it looks like nothing is happening for a bit because it's in the middle of opening it. But you just gotta kind of wait it out because it's doing its best to open it. And there it is. It finally opened. Its VDI is slower. And now it's beginning to display itself, so to say. Is it opening up for you now, Corey?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. So now I'm going to switch to the one where it's already open because this one's taking forever because, you know, VDI does that. But I'm going to go back to the Photoshop where it already opened up. And Alvin, I know that you take a lot of my Photoshop classes, but the latest Adobe Photoshop 2023, which got upgraded a few weeks ago, has quite a few new tools, and including this one down here. So I don't know if you've come across this tool yet.
Yes, I have it. I'm using Adobe Photoshop Beta.
Okay.
It's the newest, I think.
All right. Yeah, it's even probably newer than this one, but well, it's always called beta until the new one comes out. So maybe it's the beta of this one, or maybe it's a newer beta. I don't know. You can check by going to your Creative Cloud and finding out.
It
So
has the same symbol that you have underneath the photo.
So let me explain what's happening for those of you who have your own, let me reshare. For those of you who have your own Creative Cloud, because I don't talk about this much. And if you have VDI right now, don't worry about it because you have whatever the school has. But if you have your own VDI, if you have your own Creative Cloud, you have a control panel, a Creative Cloud panel. So this is for quite a few of you guys, which tells you what applications you have installed on your computer or not. And then, so for example, my Photoshop installed on my computer, it says I have an update available. And although I updated it even last week already, it's still available. It says I have 6 updates. Now, I have it set to the fact that I update it myself, and that's why it's not updating automatically. Some of you guys might have it in automatic update. But as you can see, my bridge is telling me that it's up to date. My Acrobat Center is up to date, but all the rest is saying update available. And these things come up pretty often, the updates. But if you have it turned on to update automatically, sometimes there's things that don't work anymore. Some things really change. And so if you're someone who kind of wants to do it at your own time, I have to control that mine updates at the same time as the one that I teach with, right? And VDI, they tend to update it a bit later. That's why I try to do it at the same time. But right now, if you see something that says Photoshop beta in between parentheses, like it'll say here, or I think it says Photoshop beta. It's, oh, here we go. It's, this is an example, Adobe Express beta. What's happening is that they're working on Adobe Express, and they want people who are, if you want, advanced users who know how to use it really well, to download the beta, which is what they're practicing to add, right? And then you get to report things that work, things that don't work, bugs and stuff like that. Doesn't make sense to have beta unless you're going to be one of those people, if you really know what should or not be happening, and then you can like be giving feedback to them and saying it does or not work. Other than that, when they've worked out all the bugs, then they present it as the new Photoshop and it comes as an update. So if you don't have beta, that's the one that they consider the stable one, that one that's working. Okay. But if you go over here to beta apps, it'll show you here Photoshop beta, Illustrator beta. So you can, if you want, install the higher versions of them, but you could have, share your feedback, tell us how it's going. You could end up having, if you want, issues with it or not. Just warning you, only because you said you had beta apps, that might be a good thing or not. That said, most people probably have it down to Photoshop. And then if I go over here to say that I want to update it right now, I can't, of course I'm teaching, but if you click on update available, it'll go ahead and update. And next thing you know, when you come back, it'll say that it's, and usually what I do when I have some time and I'm ready to go, I'll go up and I'll say, okay, update all of them, right? And then I'll leave, I'll do whatever I'm doing. You can still work while you're updating on other stuff. I can work on the internet or whatever, but I can't work on these. So usually I do it when I'm about to leave the house, and then I come back and everything is and I have all my cloud apps that I have installed updated. Anyway, just wanted to show you this because I don't think I've ever really shown the updates. And then you have, this is kind of like the place where you manage all of your apps. There's a lot more that I can show you, but that's the most important thing. All right. So in this case, I know that when, class is over, if I have a minute, I should come in and do some updates because I want to have the latest version. But if you're really concerned about whether it's going to work well or not, you might first read a little bit on the internet and the community to see if people are having troubles with the newest one, because sometimes you'll update and then suddenly something will not work. So the only one that I need, some already say update, like this one, and this is a quick update because it's like a plug-in camera raw, and every time a new camera comes in the market, they send out an update. So this one is constantly updating, but the rest, it's fine to update them every 3 months or so. It's not such a big deal. All right, a little segue into that because I wanted to show you. And then now everyone should have Photoshop open, right? With the file that we chose to open. In this case, it's this one. So this thing that opens up right now, in here, as opposed to an InDesign, there's no quick way to see the information. Although I could open, just so you know, this is new to Photoshop, you could actually open link information into this one. And I believe that under info, you might have, I'm not sure about this one. I think you might have some of properties. No, I was just wondering whether this info would give you that. No, but it doesn't. Okay, So I'm just gonna ignore that and get rid of it. I thought that this one might give some metadata, but it doesn't. And yeah, this one doesn't give you metadata either. So anyway, I'm just ignore that. So I'm gonna go up to image size, and you guys don't see it because it's way up there on the Mac. So image size. And I'm going to open that up. Image size. Okay. And so this window, this image size window, is the one in Photoshop that'll allow us to prepare the photos for InDesign. Now, as I said, there's a ton to learn about Photoshop and Illustrator. But I teach Photoshop and Illustrator in individual classes. I'm just saying for those of you who might be new to my classes. So when I do this class, I focus a bit more on, we're laying a whole project out, a brochure, a business card, a book, whatever, marketing, the labels for my wine company, whatever it is that I'm creating. And the photos that we bring in, I'm making the assumption that you took the Photoshop class and you know how to make it look pretty and all that. So this by now isn't about making the photo look better. This is about sizing it correctly to bring into InDesign. Does that make sense? So that's the part that I'm teaching you about Photoshop. So over here under the image size window, I can see that same information, and you guys don't bother going back and forth, but in Bridge, this photo was telling me that it was 72 ppi, the dimensions were 19.2 in inches, dimensions, pixels. So just remember kind of one of these numbers or names gently, not a big need to remember it. But when I go back to Photoshop, that's exactly what I have here. Resolution 72, height 19 by 12, and the dimension in pixels 1382 by 922. So that's exactly the same information that I was getting from Bridge in this image size box. I open this image size box only if I'm going to print. If I'm going to the web, I'll use another one, but this is to print. And remember, I told you guys that we were creating this as a print document. So the first thing I need to do is turn off the resample box. Uncheck that. If it's checked, uncheck it. What we want to do first, why we turn this off, is because I don't want to create stuff that's there or not, like invent stuff in Photoshop yet. I want to just move the pixels around without messing up the photo. So this is crucial. And I always wonder why they don't have this one automatically on off as the default setting, because when it's off, you can't hurt the photo. When it's on, you can. So it should be a choice. But anyway, since it's not, and I talk about it a lot, and I tell you guys, when you come to this window, the first thing you need to do, check if this is on, turn it off. If it's off, leave it off. All right. So now that it's off or unchecked, now I can look and see what happens. So this is kind of similar to what we were just doing in InDesign, that we were making it bigger and smaller to kind of see if the resolution turned near to 300. So I can do the same thing here. I can, invent a number or whatever, but why don't I go straight to resolution and choose my ideal 300? And when I put 300 in there, it's telling me then that it can only be a 4.6 by 3 image. That's the size you're going to get. So remember the whole conversation about pixels, PPI. What does PPI mean? Pixels per inch. So if I want 300 pixels per inch, each inch is going to have 300 pixels, then basically what's happening is that's how many pixels I have per side, divided, by however many inches I have. I packed 300 into them. And in this case, it's that many inches. So the height of 922 pixels divides into 3 inches to get me 72 into each one of them. Now, I can also have a target. A target number, which is I needed to make this image be 10 inches wide. So it goes, okay, if I make it 10 inches wide, the height proportionally is going to be 6.6, but my resolution is going to be about 132. So they're all connected. No matter which one you change, the rest change with it. So this is that calculation. If you go, well, I only need it to be 2 inches tall because that's the space you have for this photo. Oh, well, then you're fine. It'll just make it be 2.9 width, thus 461, right? So it doesn't matter. You put the same numbers as me. I just showing you how whatever number you change here, it alters the other two, and they're all in sync with each other. Okay. So if I want this to be as big as I can, what would be the resolution? The biggest this photo will give me. What should I change here? What resolution should I write for a good print? For an okay print.
300.
Maybe 275.
Actually, 300
3 and a
is
quarter.
correct. 3 is technically correct. So 3 is what we're saying has to be, the golden number. But if you read the article that I asked you to read, notice that it'll say I think 345, 245, they say, is the minimum you can print it at and have it still look good to most regular untrained naked eyes, so to say. You'll look at a 300 printed photo at 245 and you probably won't see the difference. And it's true. Now, if you're printing a high glossy, as I said, magazine, coffee table, whatever, you want to go as high as, to 300, nearest 300 as you can. And bigger is better. But I gained some inches. So when I was at 300, I could only do a 4.6 by 3. So by going to 245, now I get 3.7 by 5.5. So maybe that is nearer to what I need. Does that make sense, you guys?
Yes.
By playing around with these numbers, nothing is changing. Nothing has changed here in dimensions. I'm not adding or taking away pixels. The image size, this is like the space it occupies in the computer, so to say, in the world is still the same. So this is just, it's like you got one stick of gum in your mouth and you stretch it out to make a bubble and it pops and then you make it tight in your mouth. It's like, it's the same amount of gum. Sometimes it looks big, sometimes it looks small. That's what's happening here. We are shifting around based on, sometimes you have a 5x7 frame at home. So you put 7 in there and you notice, oh, proportionally, it's not going to give me 5. So then you go with 5 and then you go, oh, good. So I'm going to have to cut a little bit off. And then I go, but when I print it, oh, that's not going to work. That's going to give me a bit of a fuzzy image. So then I go, okay, I'll print it at 300. So make it look good, or I'll print it at 245. And then what I'm going to do is I'll print it like that. And then I'll just kind of leave a little bit of white space around it. So you make choices, right? If that's the image you need to have. Now, if this image was supposed to be 11 inches by 5, am I anywhere near? Even if I push it to 245, I'm anywhere near. Can I use this photo?
No.
If this was supposed to be an 8.5 by 11 kind of a short? No, this is basically telling me, no, you got to choose another photo. Now that answer, let's go ahead and go with this. Let's put a 245, like we're really pushing it to the max. And now let's say, okay. So now this image has been, let's say what I call it right sized. It's correctly sized in Photoshop for printing purposes, right? And what it's telling me, well, the biggest you can get out of this is a like 4-inch height image. And I don't know if in Photoshop you have your rulers turned on. If you don't, it's Command or Control R, or go up to View and click on Rulers. If you don't see a check mark here, that means you don't have them turned on. But up here, as you can see, the rulers are showing up and it's telling me when I put my mouse near this edge, it's somewhere between 5 and 6. So it's like 575 or whatever. And then over here, the top edge is going to 0. And then this down here is almost at 4. So that's just to tell you how these rulers work. That little line that goes back and forth, it follows your mouse. So if you want over here, I'm at 0 and 0. And if I go way over here, then that's telling me that this is about 5 by, 5 3/4 by 3 3/4 ish. Right now I'm not trying to be precise. I'm just saying. Okay. So now I'm going to move this out of the way a little bit. So if I were to now save this as a JPEG and bring it in, and let's try that. Okay. And I'm going to actually do a save as myself because I want to keep this original one for teaching purposes, I want to still keep it this way. You guys don't need to, right? But I'm creating a new one because I don't want to affect my original one. So I'm gonna just say save as. And Nito brew, I'm gonna go 245 PPI. Just saying that for myself, guys. You can just do a save and it doesn't matter. You don't need to do a whole save as, just do save. Again, it's only because I need to make sure that I don't affect what I bring in. Okay, so now we've changed it in Photoshop, right? Before I continue, yes, Corey, I see a hand.
Is there a way that my ruler showed up not in inches, but maybe in like centimeters or something? Is there a way to change
put
that?
your mouse, put your mouse here on the ruler, like the tip of your mouse on the ruler, right click and have it change it to whatever you need.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. So yeah, sometimes if you probably had it in points or one of those things. Cool. All right. So now we save. Okay. So you've altered nothing crucial. You've only altered you've made your chewing gum smaller or bigger, but it hasn't altered the photo. The quality of the photo is intact. We go back to InDesign, and for you guys, right, because you have the same one here, you should see that there's like a little warning sign here, right? I'm going to go ahead and myself, to trick it into doing the same thing, I'm going to do a change in here for just a second. You guys are fine. I'm going to do a change in here. I'm going to use this one just because I want to make sure that I'm not messing up my original sample. Then I'm going to go into InDesign, and I'm going to do this thing again, but I'm going to bring in that file. So give me a second, because by using this one, I won't. Where did I save it as? Jesus, where am I saving my files? I'm
Fourth
sorry.
one down on your list,
Was it?
I believe.
Am I not seeing things correctly today? Fourth one down. No, this is the good one, but I just saved
Oh.
one that I'm looking for, the one that I just created. And this is only because I'm trying not to mess up the original, but let me see where I saved it to. Thought I had saved it to the right folder. It's like I'm not looking at the same place. Where is this one? This is in downloads, the Musakio Digital Design Techniques. Oh, because I've got the download class files here, which, see, I have two. I messed up my spring folder, my spring and my spring and my summer folders got confused in my personal computer. And so let me give me a second. It had just shown up. So it had just shown up. Why is it not showing up now? Oh, great. I apologize. This is, I am normally so good with this, but let me go back to put it's taking so long to fix. I'm so sorry, guys. I need to put it in the right folder, but since my folders are named exactly the wrong way, my spring is the other, so I'm in this one. Let me put it in this one and save it there. And there we go. I'm going to save it again. So now I've created two of them. And now let me go into InDesign and I'll find it this way now. Okay. So now I should have it right there. I just had to reset where I was saving things. Okay. So basically we had it about yay big was near to what I needed. Let me just see. I'm just redoing something so you guys kind of can ignore a bit what I'm doing. This was near enough to 300 or something like that. I don't remember. Okay. So, so now I'm going to go here to Photoshop and I'm going to do what we just did. So I'm just redoing it. I apologize really quickly. I'm going to do 300. I'm going to say, okay. And I'm going to save. Okay. So now I'm at exactly the same spot you are, but I'm not using my sample file, which I didn't want to change. All right. So now when I go to InDesign, this is what I told you guys that you should be seeing, right? Like a little warning sign. Is that's what's happening to everyone now?
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening, and just give me a yes, Corey, that I can't see you, or nod, Alan, if this is happening for you.
Yes, it is happening.
And Alan?
I don't see the that warning sign.
Okay, so in Photoshop, when you made the change, did you save your file?
I don't remember.
So here, let me explain meanwhile while you're doing it. We just went and changed something in Photoshop, right? That was important. We did the image size and did a whole change. We said, okay, but if you don't save it and this file gets closed right now, you lose that change. So you need to do a save. Once you save it though, this is the file that we brought into InDesign, right? So when I go back to InDesign, and there's nothing horribly wrong, but InDesign is warning me that it's been modified. Don't click yet, but hover over this little thing and see what the tooltip says, modified. Click to update, right? Or option click to open the links panel and do it there. So it's telling you what to do, but we already have a links panel open. So we can either click in there or we can double click over here. When it's warning me, it's just that the original file that's linked has changed. And this is why this is a linked file, because this thing that we brought in to InDesign is the same file that I just worked with in Photoshop. Like it is now, this document has to carry around two files because you have the file you're doing the layout and this other file that has been linked in. It's pointing into it, but it's not, the opposite would be embedded. It's not embedded in InDesign, it's only linked, right? So any changes that happen to this file out in Photoshop will show up in InDesign, but it'll tell you, whoops, it's been modified. So now I'm going to go ahead and do it. You can either single click there or double click there. And now that thing has disappeared. And now what I have here in front of me has changed because now my actual PPI is 300. I think maybe I left yours at, I don't know, maybe I left yours at, sorry, at 245. Yeah. Okay. That's, don't worry. That's just because I just did mine separately. So I left mine. So now it's the actual PPI. I correctly set it up as 300. My effective PPI right now, because I have my window, it fit within this window, I need to shift, command shift and make sure that I, make it fit to whatever it is that it has to be. But this is kind of gonna drive me bonkers if I try to do it this way. So the easiest way is to first fix it in. So I'm just kind of going back and forth a few times to show you how, although the actual PPI is 300, by having it bigger than what it should be, it's still giving me a hard time. But if I really don't want to do this back and forth that I'm doing right now, which is kind of like very unscientific, all I need to do is go into Photoshop and find out how big this file is, right? Which we can do it by going back into image size, or down here, I'm seeing that it's telling me that this is a 4.607 by 3075 inch. Yours is going to be smaller because you saved it. Why don't I save it as again into 245 so that I have the same samples that you guys have. So let me actually change the image size again, because let me go to what I told you guys to have, 245. Say okay, let me say save. And then, by the way, if I go back to InDesign, now it's changed again, right? Because I've just changed it. So I'm going to click to update. Now, this is what you should have. You should have had a 245 and it's still not giving you exactly right. So, and then to do this whole thing is very unscientific. Yeah, it just doesn't, work. So one thing that we can do is over here. Well, one thing we can do is go to Photoshop and find out how big it is, right? So it's 5.6 by 3.7. So I could just do that and then go back in here and InDesign and just put in the numbers here to force it to be that. Or let's make something very different from it. Let's make it really small or something like that so that it kind of works. And we have some choices here. And if we, let me see, auto fit. Let me see if it tells me to refit. No, the other ones that are here aren't going to work. There's another one. What's the shortcut? Anyway, I wanted to show you this one. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to change the frame to the size it needs to be, right? So was it 3.7? I thought one of the automatic ones would do it, but it won't. So we need to do it by hand. So down here, we pick up this number. And if you don't see this number here, you can click. You might have it on document sizes and you're seeing that number, document profile. I mean, I don't know, but this little arrow, the one that it tends to be defaulted on is dimensions. Do you see dimensions there?
Yes.
So basically it's telling me that this is 5641. As long as I remember one, because if I do it proportionally, it doesn't matter. I'm going to remember this one. It's easier. 3763. 3763. 3763 in height. So I go over to InDesign and now over here, right? I can, and I need to link them, constrain them. And I'm going to put in height 3763. So 3.763. And when I hit return, my frame becomes the right size. My frame, now I know that what I have here is exactly what I have in Photoshop. And then I can have the content fit itself to my frame. So now you check one of these numbers. I just normally have a notepad, write it down, 3763. You can actually also have done that in Bridge. You can go to Bridge and check on the photo, and over here, this isn't the one that I updated. No, God, this is the one that was in the wrong folder, so I'm going to ignore that. So you forget what I said about Bridge because I'm showing you the wrong folder. My alarm is telling me I need to give you guys a break, so let me finish this portion. So you transform the frame into the right size. If that's done and you know where to find it, fine. If you don't know what I'm talking about and you don't know where to do this and you didn't have this happen, you might have had your image bigger and this only became a bit smaller, right? So if this worked and you know that the frame is the right size, give me a yes. And then we're going to, I've been explaining things during the way. So by explaining things on the way, it seems longer and more complicated. Then we're going to just do it once and you'll see that this is not a complicated thing. But as I teach you different things here and there, it kind of seems like a complicated process, but it's not necessarily. Okay, Alan, looks like, yeah. So how can I help you?
I'm hard to keep up with you.
Well, right now, all I really, I'm trying to take a note, and with my pencil, that's one of those new pencils with no tip. How useless is that? So I'm going to write down this to remember 3763. Okay. So the Photoshop part worked for you?
Yes.
You did that. You saved the file, right?
Yes.
Okay. When you got to InDesign, did you have the little warning and did it say yes? Did you double click on it or whatever?
No, I didn't get the warning.
Okay, so then what you changed in Photoshop is not the same as the photo that you worked in here. Let me show you a tip, because this was happening to me and I wasn't at first on the same file. Say that I'm in here with this photo, and it's too big, too small. So this is going to help you. So go to InDesign right now, Alan, and this is for everyone. Pay attention.
Okay, I'm at InDesign.
If I know this is the one that I want to modify, and I just kind of, let me change it again in some bizarre way. There we go. If this is the photo that I need to modify, and I don't know where it might be, like I was actually focusing on a different file, and it would seem that Alan was too, otherwise it would have updated. So watch. I select, this is that one, okay, because it's selected. I go down here, and the final choice is a little pencil mark. So everyone go ahead and do this. If you hover over this one, see the tip, it says edit original. Click on that, and it takes you, oh, why would it open in preview? I don't have mine, something, it should be opening in Photoshop. Why is it?
Yeah, it does for me.
Yeah, my settings, it should be too. For some reason, mine is, that's bizarre.
Yeah, mine open in preview.
It should have opened, it should open straight in Photoshop. Since when does InDesign send you to preview? The settings, okay. Go to the link. That's the link. So this is the first time in my life it's not taking me to Photoshop. I think in the new update, you need to retell it where to say, you know, every time you open anything in the Mac right now, you need to tell it to give it permission. Every time you install a new file, you have to grant it permission to see your files and stuff like that. So I think it's confused that way, but I'll figure it out. I'm going to research how come this edit original isn't taking me to edit original, but this is the place you do that. This is where you click on edit original, and it should open in Photoshop. So for Alan, and you can also do a right click, but the other option is to go to the photo, do a right click, and instead of edit original, go to edit with Photoshop, right? So that should have done that, but since it for some reason isn't, then go to the image, right click, and then instead of saying edit original, because for some reason some of us are pointers are wrong, then tell it where do you want to do it. Okay.
Yeah.
And then when you do that, it'll open the correct link. This is the one that it is the one that you need to work with. Okay. So whatever it is that you did, now go and change it here. Go ahead and do an image size here, modify something here, and save it. Okay. How about the rest of us do this? Change it to 300 now. That way we all have some new thing to save.
Okay, so I'll make it 300.
Everyone make it 300. Okay, you guys?
Okay, that's done.
Are you following? Eugenia, William, I wanted you to open it back in Photoshop, and then let's go to image size. And how I did that, I went to image size, image size. Corey, are you following?
I can't seem to, when I try to do the right click to get edit with, I don't have, it doesn't give me Photoshop as an option.
And you're in VDI, right? Let me go to my VDI and see what's happening in VDI. So in VDI, if I right click, it's not giving me the edit with InDesign.
Yeah, that's what I see, just that.
But the linked files should be working then. Because in this case, I click on right now, I'm looking at another image, but I can go over here to this, is it this one? And click on this, and when I say edit original, it should open it up in Photoshop. No, it's also gone to like viewer.
Yeah,
this is the first
like
time ever in my life, you guys, that from inside of InDesign, it's taking me to the Windows viewer. See, this is when you update computer operation system, something weird happens sometimes. And this is weird. It's taking me also into, this is like the Windows
that's what's
equivalent
happening
of
to me.
preview. That's bizarre. I was showing you this as a trick to make sure that you're going to the right one. And for the first time in my life, this isn't working. And you're right, on the PC, the right click isn't giving me even the option. That's bizarre. So you know what then? you just need to know, that you're in the right folder. But this is something that there's probably some settings or something that need to be, they worked on here for this to be fixed, because that button has been always that way. And that's maybe over here, edit with. Yeah, it's only giving me Adobe InDesign. Let me see if it gives me the choice to say other. No, it doesn't. So you know what? Forget this if it wasn't something that was useful, in the sense that for VDI, you're on VDI too, Eugenia, but it worked for you. Oh, it didn't work for you.
No, it didn't work for me. I just went to Photoshop.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
if you go to Photoshop and edit it there, but I was trying to show you the shortcut, but the shortcut isn't working on VDI at all. And
I think that our Photoshop is not exactly the same as yours.
No, but it doesn't matter. For years in InDesign, for years, no matter what version, since the beginning of InDesign, when you select an image and you click on this, it opens itself in Photoshop, no matter what version Photoshop you have, no matter, it just kicks open Photoshop. This is the first time I'm seeing it not to kick open Photoshop. So there's, when you say that you have new versions, you need to go and find out what's wrong or what's different. I need to go and do a research and find out what's happening and, why it's not doing that. But
Deanna, mine worked the way you described.
Yeah, and same with Alan. So for two of you guys, it's working. For me and my Mac, it's not working. And for VDI, it's not working. And Saul, I think you said you had to leave, or are you not here still? I don't know if Saul is here or not, because he had an appointment and he said he'd pop in and out. Okay, he's probably not here. But he's on VDI too, so it's probably not working. Okay, so I was just trying to show you the shortcut, and the shortcut's not working, which is very frustrating. But anyway, it's time to finish this and give you guys a break. So I just wanted to make a point that if you make a change again, then that if you make a change again on that photo, and now I know I'm on the right one because I'm clicking on the file name and all of that. So anyway, that if you make a change in that photo, it's going to stick. But if you guys know it's the right photo, that's fine. If not, I will look into this because something is truly bizarre here. So now I told you guys to go ahead and change it to 300 and say, okay. But if I don't save, that won't work. So Command S. And the moment you save it, when you go back to InDesign, it should have again, oh, please don't tell me, an update. Yeah, it went to 300, actually by 300. Alan, it doesn't matter right now, that portion, I guess, because I really can't figure out why it does or doesn't link. No, for you, it did work, Alan. It did take you to Photoshop.
Yeah, it did take me to Photoshop.
It was for William, and for Alan, it worked. Then make a change there in your PPI. And then when you come back in here, you should see that warning sign that I was talking about, because in the end, we went into this because of you, so to say, right?
No, but it didn't change it to in InDesign.
All right. I'm going to have to look at your files to see. And right now it's been a while. I need to give everyone a break. So let me just finish this process. What we're going to do when we come back from break, we're going to do it as a fell swoop process, because this has taken forever, but it is a simple process. But right now, since we changed it to 300, look at the number, look at one of these numbers. And for me, it's going to be easy to remember the 3.073, okay? The width. So now I go back to InDesign, and in this box, what I need is the box to be set the frame, okay? And this transforms the frame. I'm going to go over here and I'm go 3.073. And then I'm going to hit return. And now my frame got to be the right size. You see that? Did that work for you guys? Did the frame change?
I didn't get that that warning notice this time when after I
No,
changed it to
Yeah,
300.
because it was because just the PPI didn't make a bit of a difference, so it didn't shift it. But it says actual PPI 300, right?
Yes, it does.
Yeah, so that's
Okay.
what matters. Now change the height of the frame. We're gonna go step by step again. And then we're going to use these automatic frame feeding choices that appear over here. And don't click on them because we'll make a mess. I need to leave the frame correct. But the third one is fit content to frame. Since we made the frame the right size, then if we click on this, our content is automatically, and I'm going to show you, boom, going to fit itself to that frame. And now we should have an exact 300 by 300 here, because we gave it the frame, the size it should have, and thus our PPI should both be effective and actual 300. If this worked for you, give me a yes. I don't know, Eugenia, that was an old yes or a new one, so I just cleared it out. So if it worked for you, give me a yes. If this is like, I have no idea what you're talking about, or if it's not working, give me a no. And then I will, at this point, maybe give a longer break, and I will work individually a little bit, because I don't want everyone to sit here if you got it, if it worked for you. So I'm going to work a little bit more with Alan, but
Can you
Corey,
say
how about
again,
you?
under frame fitting, what is the choice you went with?
The third choice.
The third
that
one.
If you
okay.
hover over it, it says fit, but don't
Yeah.
just count 3, just hover and it says fit
Okay.
content. The
Uh-huh.
content, which was the photo, which might have been bigger or smaller than the frame. When you say fit content to
Yeah.
frame,
Okay. Got it.
then it fit correctly. Okay.
Yep.
So, Alan, let's do this. So we'll have a good time. Thank you. So now let me give us all a break. Normally I would give 15 minutes. Let me give us 20 minutes, you guys, for Eugenia and Corey, and that way I have 5 minutes to work with Alan. Okay. So 20 minutes, unless you want to hear the whole thing, which is fine, but it's, let me see, 20 minutes right now, it's 10:53. That would be 11:13. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay, so the break until 11:13 a.m. That's 20 minutes. Okay, so let me stop my share and let's spend a minute. Alan, let's get you the class files, okay? Because it's a bit of a mess, and I'm going to actually fix my connection too, because I'm having a bit of a mess here too. Let's go get the class files. Can you go over to a browser and go to the folder? Do you remember how to do that, or should I walk you through that?
Just tell me, if you tell me what folder to go to.
No, we're to pipeline and all that. You know how to do that? Pipeline, digital design techniques. Let me just share my screen. We're gonna go download the class files. I have no idea where you have them, so we're gonna just download them.
I think I did download the class files. So
Okay.
I could find-
If you think you did, then we need to find them. If you don't think you did, then we need to. Why am I not signed in? Let me just go see what the class folder is called, because I myself think I might have the wrong folder. I'm gonna just download the same folder that everyone has downloaded, because I might have messed up the one that I have. So what
Yeah,
I'm
I
showing you
found-
now is the digital sign techniques
I
and,
found the photos that are downloaded.
okay. And it's the freshest one.
It's what, sorry?
It's the freshest. Oh yeah, you haven't taken this class before, so it is the one that you have. Okay, and it's called download class files. Okay.
Yeah, I think it's the current one.
All right. So where do you have them?
Well, it's in my documents folder, then I have Diane classes SBCC folder.
Okay.
Then
So
this
then let's go to Bridge, right?
bridge.
And let's go to Bridge and let's send your computer to that file in Bridge. Okay, so over here on the left side, if you see your documents folder, click on your documents folder.
Too many files open, so I'm trying to bridge. Go to-
And then you can find the folder.
I think I have to close and reopen bridge. Okay, I reopened bridge and documents folder is enormous.
Now I am 100% sure that the files I have are the same ones that everyone has because I just updated
Okay,
that.
so, I'm in bridge now, and I have the June. Design June. Okay, and I have the. Yeah, I have a folder, photos for digital design.
Okay,
2023. So what am I looking for?
all right. So I at this point I also need to take a break, so I need to tell me where are you so that I can
Well,
figure out what to tell you.
I'm looking at the photos, the folder of the photos for summer 2023
And Bridge.
in bridge. Yes.
Okay, so now go to InDesign.
Okay. Yeah.
So
Yeah, I
now
know this.
in InDesign, we need to fix the link. No, we don't need to fix the link. We're going to bring in this image. Sorry, we're going to bring in this image that we've been working on that you don't have. Okay, so go to your InDesign right now.
I'm at InDesign.
And okay, Command D or File Place.
Should I close what I have now?
No. We're just gonna put in the right image. You can delete the one you've been working on and then
That's
say
what I
File
just-
Place.
Okay, I'll delete the. I just.
But it doesn't
deleted
really
the-
matter.
Okay, deleted
Say
the one.
File Place.
And so I go to file.
Then go to your files
Okay,
and bring in the AA nitro brew
what?
underscore nitro dash brew. If you look at my computer, I'm showing you the name.
Oh,
AA nitro brew.
Let me see if I. Oh, I found it.
Okay, so now go ahead and come in here and then click and drag, and it doesn't matter what size you put it at because we're gonna fix it. Ah,
Oh,
you're gonna end up with no break, and I do need to have a break. So tell me where you're at. Let's just, I need, or share your screen. I'll help you.
I found the AA Nitro brew in Adobe Bridge, and I have an InDesign.
Why don't,
folder.
let's do this. Why don't you share your screen?
Oh,
Because
sure.
I do really need to take a break, and I
Okay.
can't go until the time without having a break. I'm desperate to
Okay.
go to the restroom.
Well,
And
okay.
so,
Why don't you take a break? I'll,
but I need to have you caught up too. So it's easier if I can see what's happening.
okay.
So,
Okay.
Can you, I'll walk you through sharing your screen. Click on the share screen button
have to find the share screen.
in Zoom.
Share screen.
Okay, great.
Uh, well, I have three screens on two screens on the second.
Yeah, so it's, I see how it's confusing. Okay, so now go to open up your InDesign.
I have InDesign open. I could put it on. Put it on this.
We'll open your InDesign.
Better to
Yeah.
see it on this window.
Yeah, okay, so now let's go click, okay, drop it wherever you are, let go of your mouse. Okay, now go up to the InDesign, up to the Apple where you have all your tools up there at the top. And say File, Place, the first choice, File, Place.
InDesign.
Nope, now you lost InDesign, stop, because you're not clicking on InDesign, click on InDesign again, yeah. Are you trying to avoid Zoom or something that you keep moving it?
Go to the bridge and now I have InDesign.
All right, so when you're set to go to File, go ahead and up to File, Place, or Command D, but yeah, File, Place, yeah. All right, so now go to your documents and find that folder that you said on the left side, click on Documents, on the left side, sidebar, go on the sidebar, on the gray sidebar, go down there, yeah, look for your documents, because you said you had it in your documents, so go down one. Yeah, no, there it is, yep, Documents. And then, I mean, you said you had it in your documents, right? So Diana Classes, there we go, double click. And then, is that the one? Diana,
Too many files.
you called it Diana Photos for Digital Design Techniques. So go into that digital design folder that you seem to have done yesterday. Yeah, double click on that one. And then down a little bit there, that you called it Diana Photos for Digital Design. Yeah, say open. Okay, and now on this one, go and see it, go and look for the A underscore A bit more, Nitro. There it is, and now say open. Okay, and now go ahead and put it in here and just do a single click to drop it, and it'll come in whatever way it comes in. Okay, now You need to have, what frustrates me when people share their screens is when you don't see all the tools. Yeah, there you go. Now go over to the height, which under, okay, let go of your mouse and go over to the right where it says properties transform. And then on the height, yeah, choice. Oh, but we didn't open this one in Photoshop yet. Let's see if it works for you. Go to that little pencil mark. Okay, see, it didn't, it opened. Yeah, there you go. This is your, can you stop moving things around? Yeah, so if this is your Photoshop, pull it up again. We need it in Photoshop, so don't get rid of it. This is the photo that I just opened in from Photoshop. And then make it over, but I don't see your Photoshop tools. So let me just explain something for a second. This is tremendously confusing because you have I mean, I understand what's happening, but I have no idea how you understand what's happening. So I would love to be able to show you a better way to work with things. Would you let me use your computer for a minute to
Yes,
just,
sure.
okay, because I'm going to request remote control. When you see that request, you have to say yes. Okay, so now don't move your mouse anymore. Let go of your mouse and don't move it so that I can do it. Okay, so this window, and that is your Photoshop tools, and you have it like disconnected. So I'm going to connect it again. And the only way to do that is change, arrange your workspace and consolidate to all tabs. Okay. So now you're not consolidated all tabs, the other way around. Tile. Hold on, I'm just trying to find which is the right workspace. Code and window, which is the right one? Jesus, give me a second. I need to bring it back all. It's not the one, it's Cascade. I'm having a blank on which one it is, so I'm testing them all. No. And I thought it was consolidate to all tabs. Yes, but this is still a floater. So how do I?
You could close the other one that I had.
No. Just for now, don't do anything. For now, don't do anything, please. I need to. Oh, you have two Photoshops open at the same time.
Sorry about that. You could close.
All right. This is the beta. Let me close your other one. It's just too crazy to have two at the same time. All right. So now I know that I'm working within this one. Okay. So that's better. I was completely flummoxed. I'm going to go ahead for a second and right click and hide this one. Do you mind if I hide a few other things? I'm not going to close them, but just
feel free to do what you need.
hide or quit. Just going to hide your email because this is just kind of crazy making for a bunch of other stuff, and I want to clean up. I don't know if you're opening. I'm gonna hide it because I don't know if you're actively using these or not. So keep them off. Off what's open. Okay, so right now you have the window. Then I'm gonna grab bridge and I'm gonna move it in here. So what's hard, what I do not know right now is where your zoom window is. Do you see the entire bridge thing, or do you have zoom in the way? Do I need to move it down or something like that?
Yeah, now I see it.
All of bridge. Okay. Now what I need to do that same thing with Photoshop. We left the beta one. And now I'm going to do exactly the same to Photoshop. I'm going to put it right there. And I want to show you something, and this is beyond what I was trying to show you, but this is otherwise. So over here to the right, do you have a lot of empty space, or can I make it bigger, wider? If I make this bigger here, do you still see Photoshop on the right? If I do this?
Yeah.
Or do you have zoom stuff in here?
I guess that's Zoom. on the right column.
Is that good? Just tell me how far to go. Do you see the entire Photoshop right now? Do you see the entire Photoshop window right now?
Yeah.
Okay, so now I'm going to go to bridge and I'm going to resize it. So here's what I'm trying to show you. When you have so many different windows open, it's crazy. When you don't have zoom, I highly recommend maximizing both. And by the way, over here, let me fix this bridge so that in the future you don't have issues for how to find stuff. Let's go over here too, and I'm going to look for sort by. Let's go by file, and was it? Let's search for Diana because you had it. Okay, so now I'm going to put over here, right there, Diana photos for summer. So now these are the right photos. Okay.
Right.
Now, you also have, you don't have the essentials workspace set up. So I'm going to reset the standard workspace. And there you go. I'm finally putting bridge exactly the same as it is for me. When it's so different, half the time you're going to be lost looking for stuff, right? And so now if it's exactly like mine, then you won't spend so much time kind of trying to figure out where I am and where you are. So now you know that when you come to bridge, you click on this, these are the class files. All right. So now if I double click on this one, I just want to see which Photoshop it opens up. It opened the beta. Okay. So you have it linked to the beta. Okay. So I'm desperate. Classes break is over in 1 minute and I haven't, all I've done is this. So let me just really quickly do this for you. And then I'm definitely gonna have to beg everyone for forgiveness. I will take a break because otherwise I can't function. But what I'm gonna do here is, are you moving your, don't move your mouse. I'm trying to select this tool. It's not letting me select that tool. It's like it stopped responding. Okay, it just stopped responding to me. Photoshop. I'm going to put Photoshop and bridges right next to each other. I'm going to drag InDesign to be here with it so that in you have your Photoshops and your bridges all together. Okay, so here's what I'm going to say. Whenever I say go to bridge, the worst thing you can do is what you were doing, which is move things around, see, to find something else. What I want you to start doing is to think, oh, I need to go to, I'm in bridge, I need to go to Photoshop. Well, click over here on Photoshop. Boom, Photoshop comes in. Then I say, okay, go to bridge, click over here. So then every time you see the entire window, and this is not you, I see it everywhere, that people have the entire window moved. So then you don't have your tool. So then you have to move. And then especially when you have 20 other things open like you did, it's just, it's mind-bogglingly complicated. So when I say move to bridge, move to Photoshop, move to InDesign, this is all you need to do. And now let me resize InDesign for it to also be the same size. And now that's kind of like the easiest thing to do. You Photoshop, InDesign, bridge, right? And see how they all shift and you see every single piece you need to see in each one of them. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I'm going to leave this other Photoshop way up there. I'm not sure which one you're using actively, but since this is the one that's opened up, we're going to do this one.
I'm using beta most of the time.
Okay. So, but for some reason, it's not what's here. It's not letting me choose Photoshop. See how I can't go? Can you do that? Can you go and click on the move tool in Photoshop? Yeah, something's not, it's like we're not in this tool. That's exactly what's happening to me. Okay, don't move your mouse anymore. I'm going to go back to InDesign. Is it letting me use InDesign? Yes, I can use InDesign just fine. It's just your Photoshop is acting weird. Let me just close your Photoshop for a minute. Quit your Photoshop. There's something that's not working. Now let me go over here and let me see if I say edit original in yours. it's opening it in beta and it's a Photoshop. It doesn't let me work with Photoshop. I don't know what's happening. Doesn't even let me quit it. It's like, this is, see what's happening? I mean, it's not me, it's you. It's just Photoshop is not. I can't even get rid of it. Let me go to the Finder and force quit. Force quit Photoshop beta. Yeah. Okay. So hi, you guys are back and we have not gone on break yet, and I'm still trying to fix some stuff that was a bit of a mess in this computer. So I'm going to need to take like 3 minutes, okay? Because I really, really need to go to the restroom, basically. I need to go to the restroom. But let me edit with, and let me open, do you mind if I open the other photo? Well, you said you've been working on that one. Let me try again then the beta, and let's see if this time it's responding.
I normally use only beta, but I opened the other one because you raised an issue whether I had the latest beta. So I checked it out.
So I'm going to go over here to it's just that in this beta, it's missing the consolidate. Oh my God. Let me see if it's letting me work on it. We had a frozen program, you guys, and I know this is taking forever, but now can I select it? Yes, it's finally working. Wow, that was okay. So now it's working. So now you have your Photoshop, your InDesign, and your bridge all at once. Okay. Cool. So let me just do this change myself, and then I'll take, guys, I'm going to make this be 300. I'm going to say okay to that. And then down here, I'm going to shift you to document dimensions. Why is it giving it to me in PPI instead of in size? Oh, your document dimensions isn't giving you the size. Okay, but we know what it should be. I'm going to Command or Control 0 to fix it on the screen. I'm going to save. And now what we're going to do is go to InDesign. See how I don't move things around? I just click there, go to InDesign, right? And now this one is 300. No, is this that same file?
Imported correctly.
Okay, I need to give up something. I'm spending hundreds of hours on this, and it is not. I know what I did wrong. I hadn't unchecked your image size. I hadn't unchecked this. I just was in a hurry and I didn't uncheck it. So you just had resized. Okay. Now I'm going to say save. Okay. And now I'm in InDesign. And there we go. So now this one, see how you have that little like, something changed mark? I'm going to click on that. And now you have exactly the same file that we have. And so now this one here, we need to change to, what was the number, you guys? 3.073. I'm going to say, okay. Oops. I did that without having this connected. 3.073. And then fit within the screen. Okay. So now this says 300 to 300. This is where I left it, where everyone is right now. I'm going to file save, put this in here, and let's call it whatever, place files. This is that document and save. Okay, you're at exactly the place you should be right now. Everything else that we do right now should be like, should work like everyone else. Okay, so I'm going to stop your share. And meanwhile, you need to take a mini break too, but practice going to the dock to switch from application to application. Okay,
Okay.
instead of moving things around. And
Thank you.
guys, I'm just going to run
Yeah.
just to the-
You deserve a few minutes.
like 3 minutes. Can you all be with me? Sorry, guys, 3
You could
minutes.
take more
I'll
than
be
3
back.
minutes.
Well, yeah, but everyone else by now has waited 25 minutes for the class to continue. So I need to be fair to everyone else who I haven't been helping one-on-one. So I'll be back in 3, you guys. All right, here I am. You guys hear me? Yeah. Okay. I know that took a little bit longer, but it would have been harder to keep trying to explain where things were than to just have it set up like we are in class and how it's working for everyone. And now let me share my screen. And here we go. So when people share their screens with me, there's one thing that I want to in particular explain, that when you are sorry, here's VDI. When you are using your computers, see how I have, this is Windows as opposed to Mac, but I don't switch Bridge by moving it over and then moving InDesign over and then moving Bridge over. Yeah, because then it's like you do that and then you do this and you lose those things and then you have to go over here and you lose those things and you're hiding. That I see so many of you guys doing this. And if I could ever teach you one thing more than anything else, is that the only way to be efficient is to switch by clicking down here. But then I'm not missing parts and pieces. So the best thing to do is to just maximize the whole screen. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to put this up here again. And I'm going to click on this, like fill the window, and boom, it fills my window. And I'm going to do the same thing with Photoshop. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to fill my window, right? And so I'm going to do that there, fill that window. And I'm going to do it with Bridge. So this is the same if you're in a Mac, right? I'm just moving everything and filling my window. So now they all measure the exact same thing, which is kind of what I did to Alan. But because I know that all of you whom I didn't do it for also have your stuff everywhere. But in particular, if you feel your window and it's a Mac, then you don't, the zoom comes over it. So I kind of made it occupy only a piece of his window because he has, although you had zoom on the other one, so it might have worried. And now all I do is I go to InDesign, go to Photoshop, go to Bridge like that. In the Mac, the same thing. You go to your dots and you click on the link available, and it's like they do this thing where they flip one after the other, right? And you don't have to be moving them around, if you know what I mean. So if you don't know how to do that, do ask me, and I'm happy to spend a little bit of time. It just saves me in class time if everyone does that, because otherwise I spend half the time where people are sharing and they can't find the tool I'm asking. Why? Because they moved it down and the tool is not available or something like that. And I teach this kind of thing in my basic Mac classes, but I haven't really been so forceful about that. And I might do more of that for some of you guys who take those. All right. So that's something I want everyone to try to do. Don't move your application. Switch with your toolbar or the dock in the case of the Mac from application to application, and your whole life will be enhanced. And I'm talking about any application you use, right? Just switch that way. All right. So back to Photoshop. Sorry, back to InDesign. I apologize, not to Photoshop. So this took a bunch of time and it was kind of complicated because I had to explain a ton of things in the middle of it. Let's just do this a little bit more quickly. Okay, so we're going to do this one by one more time. I was hoping to do it with a project today, but I'm feeling we're not going to have time to actually complete a project, but I'll just make that project happen faster next time. Okay. So let's say file place. Okay. And Control or Command D. Right. And then that brings up our class window, our class files. And let's work on one that we haven't used at all. There's one called add text dash photo. And for some reason I have two of them here, but go to the number one. You all find that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Eugenia and Alan?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so add text photo. Slide right after these. Go ahead and set an open. And it's going to hang here in our fingertips, so to say. Now, I haven't yet at all looked at it in Bridge. So I have no idea resolution, size, anything. I'm just bringing it in completely blindly, right? So when I first bring it in, I know that if I click and drag, I can make it whatever shape I want. But if I want to kind of make it fit a particular part of my image, let's just say I'm going to go from, margin to margin, because I don't know anyway right now if it's too big, too small. I have no idea. So at least I place it somewhere where I can see it. When you do a single click, if it's huge, it kind of goes out of the screen. So this gives me some control. And now I go and open the link and I can read and see, where am I here with this one? Okay, the actual PPI was 72 and the effective is 160. So what does that mean, you guys? Do I need to make this one bigger or smaller to be printable?
You need to make it smaller.
Yeah, but I want everyone to catch up and to know, to have gotten to this place. Okay, so let me just do that again. We do file place, we grab the image, and we know nothing about this image, right? We could have looked at it first in design or not, but when we bring it in, it doesn't matter because yours won't say exactly the same as me. Although if you go to from margin to margin, it will, because we have the same margins. So I could have brought it in really tiny like that, right? Or Command Z, I could have just clicked and dragged and let it fall in really big. And then it would have said 72 to 72. It doesn't matter what I did. But the first time I drop it, it's easier to make it manageable. Like I can see it right there. Like I can have an idea of how big it is just by looking at this. So it doesn't matter what my first drop is. When I see this, I go, ooh, I have to make it much smaller. And if I need to have this work for me at 300, no matter what the size. And let me give you an example. Sometimes you cannot change the image. Sometimes the image is of, the CEO of the company needs to appear in the report, but there's no other good photo of her and she's in Bangladesh, whatever. And I need a photo to print the annual report. And this is the only photo I have this person. Sometimes you just cannot repeat a photo. This is the person reaching the summit of Everest and you got a bad copy. You can't send them back to Everest to reshoot, right? You have the photo you have. Then you have to make the design around the photo. Other times you make the design and you pop in the photo, right? So it depends on how lucky you are. But in this case, let's see that this is the only photo that's possible. So what I need to do is just basically turn this number into 300. Since it's not crucial that it be exact, I can just do it from here. So now with the shortcut Command and Shift, and this is the one where you, Corey, have to do Control first, then click, then hold Shift. Okay. I'm going to move this to, I don't know, I'll start by about halfway as big and then I'll read and it still says 234 and I'm going to drag down a little bit more. And now it says 268 and I'm like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine with it being 245. So then I'm dragging a little bit there. I got 249. That's good enough. That's as much as I want to push it, 244. Okay. So I ended up with a size, but I have no control over what size I got it. Does that make sense? So does that make sense what I mean? I controlled my PPI, but I ended up with whatever size I ended up. Does that make sense what I'm saying? I mean, I'm gonna I want to clear clarity from everyone from this. What was I in control of here? Was I able to choose what size I want this to be on my document?
PPI only.
Yeah, which means that I can't control size. If I control PPI, I don't control size. Does that make sense? But if instead I control size, I get whatever PPI I get.
Yeah,
does that make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Corey, yeah. Okay,
Yep.
and Alan. So I can only control one because the photo is what it is. It just came in the way it came in, right? So since it came in the way it came in, what matters most is the PPI, I don't have to go back into Photoshop. This is good enough. But if I truly wanted to get this perfect, I would go into Photoshop, resize it to the right size, then I would bring it in and I might end up with some different numbers. But I don't want to do that whole process again. More importantly, I want to show you again how to make sure that a file that you're working with gets updated and shows or not the change. So we're going to work also with the size because we're at it. But most importantly, I want us to go open that file. And normally I would have said, click on that on that little pencil. But since it's not working, you can either go back to Bridge and open it for those of you who are on VDI. So go and open that one, add photo. Careful because there's two, right? So the first one. And then for those of you who for whom the right click is working, which it seemed to work for me and InDesign, then I can right click on this photo and tell it to open with and choose which Photoshop, and it'll open in the right Photoshop. But for VDI that wasn't working, but it's working for the Mac, so I'm doing it that way. Okay, so did it open up in Photoshop? Y'all have that same file? You're clear it's the right one? You're okay? Alan, do you have it open in Photoshop now?
Yes.
Then now what we're going to do here, we're going to do a drastic change, a very drastic change. And the first day I had you guys go in Photoshop, I showed you how to do an adjustment layer. Let's head over here to the bottom of adjustment layers. And let's go to, so this little like, oh, here, while we're at it, we can do it from here too, because we have this little handy dandy support bar, and that's the circle with the half black, half white that I'm looking for. But I prefer it from here because I can read exactly what I need. So then I'm going to click and do hue saturation. Now, hue saturation right now for me is popping up over there. For some of you guys, it'll pop up in the middle. It doesn't matter. All I want is to make some ridiculous change. Like I'm going to move the saturation really high, and I'm going to make my hue. I want it to be like obviously humongously different. Since there's a lot of white in this image, just changing the hue doesn't change much because the white doesn't get affected by this one. So I'm just adding saturation like crazy, so that what I have is a change that is in any version or any site, it's clearly different. Okay. So did everyone manage to do something like this to their hue saturation?
Yes.
If so give me yep. I'm okay. Yes. And Alan, did you make a big change on your?
Yes.
Okay. Now just watch me. If I now go to InDesign, nothing has happened yet. There's no change. Nothing's wrong. I just changed that photo, which we know is linked. So why didn't it change? What was missing? What did I not do?
Save it.
Yep, I haven't saved it yet. So until we save, nothing happens. So now let's save this Photoshop file. Command S, if you want shortcuts, or file save. Now, oh, I forgot one crucial thing, something really crucial. Because it was a JPEG, by changing this, it's gonna make me turn it into a PSD, so then it won't be the same file that's linked. So I apologize. Say cancel to that, and let's flatten this file so that then we can save it as a JPEG. Now, this is not something I usually recommend, but just for this example, we've gone through so many iterations of this today that I just want to make it be clear. This is not letting me save it as a JPEG again, and I need it to be the exact same file. So I'm going to go over here to this, like where it says layers, go to the very far right, little tiny thingy right there. And we're going to go to flatten. I have to put it over here so that in the Mac, the menu doesn't, and go down to flatten image. And
Yes,
that'll
come in. I'm sorry, I'm in a class.
So I have managed to make it one image. See that? Did that work for everyone? I'm going to undo that again. I'm going to go to my history and undo what I just did. And I believe you can also flatten your images from here, from layer, flatten image. Yes, you can. So if that little icon didn't work, go up here to the word layer and then flatten image from there. The goal is you want just one image. So do you have a flattened image now, everyone?
Oh, when I go to layout, No, I found another layer. Wait.
Just go up to the very top and flatten it that way. If you, here's on a Mac, it's on a different photo, on a PC, it doesn't matter. But if I do some weird thing on this photo, it's gonna happen in a second layer. So you can either go up here to layer and say flatten image down there, or this little icon that appears over there lets you go to flatten image. Either way, you now have one image. So if you accomplish this, let me know. Okay, that's all I want. We have one image here. Let's save it now. Command S or Control S or File Save. JPEG options, because it's resaving it, say okay. This is not something I normally recommend doing, by the way. I'm just, you shouldn't really save JPEG over ShapePeg. So I just want to make sure that I don't cause huge other problems later, but never mind. So let's go ahead and head back to InDesign now that we saved. And now we should see the bizarrely colored image. If you had another step or two in between, then you might just see the warning and you need to update it. Give me a big old yes if in InDesign you see my image that I created a crazy color on in Photoshop. Then give me a yes.
One question, when you say save, it brings you the JPEG option.
Just say okay.
Okay, that's it. Okay.
Alan, did it work for you?
No, but I don't want you to waste time with me. It's
No, but
too
it wastes more time for me to have to ask you than to have you say no and give me a no, and then I immediately help you, right? That's something I try to train students. Telling me immediately, I might get to capture it immediately. I'm not trying to
I understand.
to say this wrong, but having me guess is harder. And I could tell that something's not working if you're not saying yes. So we're only 3. I have some time to spend with everyone. Normally, you know, we have 20, 30 people per class. So, hey, you know, we've got to where we get. So where did you get stopped? In Photoshop at the flattening?
In Photoshop, I think I got the, let's see. Yeah.
You made a hue saturation. Did you flatten it?
Yeah, I flattened the image in Photoshop.
Okay. And did you save the file?
But I never imported it into InDesign.
Yeah, if you haven't imported it, then it won't work. So if you saved it, go to InDesign, and then if you hadn't imported it, then let's import it now. That's what you will import, something that looks like this now. And I'm happy to have you share your screen so that I can give you a quick hand.
But everything's a mess. I'm happy to share my screen.
All right, so go ahead and share your screen.
Looking for a message to share the screen.
So
Trouble finding how to share my screen.
so you did it a little bit before. Just go to the big green share screen button on Zoom. On the Zoom tools. Can you tell me what you're seeing so that I can help you?
Looking at the Zoom tool above, it's
All right, and so near where you see the chat, it should see you had sorry, here's the chat. And then when I say here's the chat, wherever that appeared, right next to it, you should see the big green button that says share screen. Not there?
Um, like the Zoom window.
Go to your dock and do a right click on Zoom and say show all windows. That might show it to you.
So those-
Did that help?
so
Right clicking on the Zoom icon on your dock
on the
and say
dock,
on the dock, go to the dock Zoom, right click, and then that menu say
share
show all
screen.
windows.
I found
That
this.
might help. I don't know if that'll help, but if it does. For some people that helps. No? Okay. You know what? I will continue then. Don't worry, because I don't know how to help you find the Zoom. So I'm going to share again my screen and just watch for the concept, and then you can watch the recording to catch up. Although I have to admit, the recording for today is going to be pretty disjointed. Sorry for those of you watching the recording, but you know, it is what it is. Sometimes this is what happens. Okay, so here we have the image that we just changed, and for better or for worse, what this means, and I guess that's kind of what we were saying at the beginning, is that this document right now, for those of us who picked it up from the other day, has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 images in it, right? We had a couple here on, I had this one repeated a bunch of times, which in my links, the file name is there once, but it has a little between parentheses 3. And then when I open it up, it shows me each instance of 3. Now, why this matters is because I might have once on page 1, once on page 20, once on page 15, right? And so you can have the same image imported a bunch of times in the document, which would happen maybe if it's a logo that's going on the front page, on the back page, on the, you know, corporate page. So you could have one file 2 or 3 times, but ultimately this file called place image practice, if I want to give it to anyone, it has to come connected to these with these 3 files. So I should be delivering someone the InDesign file plus these 3 images. I only need 3. This one will be placed in many different places, but it's only one file. Does that make sense, you guys?
You have to give them the file, the photo separately from the InDesign document.
Yeah, because if you
Okay.
just deliver the InDesign document and that's it, they're going to open it up. They're going to see a little tiny preview. It'll say files are missing. You're going to say, okay, I open it anyway. And you'll see this little bean kind of thing here, because it's a quick preview that InDesign is showing, but that's it. If they try to print it, all they'll print is a little fuzzy block of a picture, because this is the file is missing. Does that make sense? So you have to deliver 4 files. InDesign plus 3 files. Now, when you start also including logos and text and fonts and, you know, illustrations, it can become kind of hard to handle, to know where is all this stuff? Where do I get it from? You saw already how hard it was today to even find it, to place it for sometimes, depending on where the files were. So they could end up being that you have 25 things here or 85 things, depending on how big your project is. And it's so hard to know where, how come, how do I do this? How do I find this? And that's my warning that the class is ending relatively soon. So I'm kind of don't have time to show you this whole process, but I do have time to tell you, you would probably not be able to do this correctly, like collect all your stuff from everywhere correctly and not have one thing missing. So there's an automatic tool that InDesign gives us, which is called package. So let's go up to file and package. And this is what later when we have text and all that, we'll do a package again. But right now, all we have is 3 photos. File package, and some of you have 2 if you didn't do them from the other day. And I get this little message here, fired package. And it's asking me if I want to bring other stuff in, and it'll have a warning if something's missing. But here it's telling me I didn't use any fonts. No files are missing. No files are embedded. Nothing is incomplete. Nothing is, so this is good. That means everything is good. If I had a problem, this might say 2 files missing or can't find this, right? So it would tell me that, but nothing is a problem. And in fact, it's telling me here that I have 5 links and all of them are good. Nothing is wrong. So as long as I don't have a big old warning here, you would see it. We will do it later. We'll find a way to show you a mistake. Then I can just go down here to the word package and click package. And I haven't made changes to, it calls publication, and design always calls their files publications. I have made changes. In fact, I just brought in some images and did stuff. So first I need to save it, right? So, okay, save it for continue, and I'm going to say save. And then it's going to ask me, okay, where do we want me to put this package? And this package is now going to be a copy of everything all in one place. So let's put this in front of it just so that we remember what this is. Let's click and put the word package sample kind of thing. So we know that we're just making a package sample, and this is the file name. So that's fine. Make sure it's still in the same, it'll automatically try to put it in the same folder. So you don't need to change anything. All I wanted you to do is to kind of write this package sample. And then we're going to go ahead and say, okay, package. All right. If you've completed the saving the package, you won't see anything different in InDesign. InDesign now doesn't have any particular, do command minus so you can see everything that I have here. This is command minus or control minus. And as you can see, I have my 5 links that consist of a total of 3 files, right? And that's what my document has. All right. Now I'm going to go to Bridge again. And I'm going to actually, let's go by type, sort by type again, because then you can see that what you're seeing now here, there's a new folder. It's called package sample. And whatever file name you had given the file, mine was place image practice. You see that? Now, I do want to qualify the fact that, and this is the only reason I want to actually still see the file name. The original files are still there, right? This is the file I used. This is the file I used. This is the other file that I used. So these files haven't changed. They still exist in InDesign, but a folder that is now a duplicate. So now I'm going to leave it as sort by file name so that it's easier for me to always tell you what file to use. But the P is way down here. So I'm going to scroll down to P, and here's my package. There's a new folder that has just been created. And if I look into that by double clicking, this is what the package contains. It contains an InDesign file, INDD, an IDML, a PDF. I'll talk a bit about each one of these in a minute, and a folder called links. And if I double click in this folder, I have a copy of each one of the pictures that I just had linked. So basically, let me go back to the package. I have, for better or for worse, you don't want to do this a bunch of times because this is an entire copy of those files, an entire copy of your place image. This is a new second one. It's in a folder. A lot of the times when you're done with a job and you're finished and it's been printed and it's been approved, you want to create a package of everything, and then that you're going to archive. That's the client's job. And, you know, you might not come back until a year when you update it with new information. You might never come back to it if it's a one-time off, but you want to hold on to the stuff for a while, especially clients lose files. You can't just get rid of your stuff. And if it's your own, of course, you want to hold on to it. But this is a good way to collect everything that went into that document. Especially this one has no fonts, but if we had a font, we'd have another folder here that would have the font file. And that one's always hard to connect. Now, these 3 that we've been given, the links, we knew what it was. It's the 3 JPEGs that I included. That's what that is. But this is the InDesign. This is the one I've been working on. This one is a just in case of what? Well, I'm using the latest version of InDesign. But what if I send this file to someone who is not using the latest version? They will not be able to open this one if they have an older version of InDesign. So then they can always open this one, which is an IDML, which is a universal version of InDesign. The problem is that if I've done some fancy things, including new techniques that only happen in this version, if I open this in a version 5 years older, whatever fancy new thing that I applied that only exists now will not be working in this one. Does that make sense? It's logical that, you know, right now, when I get into my old car, my phone doesn't connect to the sound because, you know, it didn't have that capability, but my phone can do it. So when I go into my new car, my phone just connects to the computer, right? So the capability is there, but the version isn't there. But this is universal for when you're sharing. So most of the times we don't need this one, but you'll never know if you archive this job for, you know, 5 years and you have to go back to it in 5 years. You might find that you can't open the INDD because weird things have changed and the volume is different. So you always have the fail-safe, the fallback of the IDML to open. So that's it. For the most part, we ignore it. It's the kind of an insurance. And then the third one that's here is a PDF. A PDF is usually what we send to the printer. Unless you have a very high-end job that you go to a web press, and I'm aware, by the way, that I'm 3 minutes over time, so I'm going to just kind of do this explanation rather quickly. If you're going to say do 10,000 copies of a book, it's printing, you know, you're selling a book, and or I don't know, 100,000 copies of the newspaper, you know, then there might be reasons why you might send the printer this entire package, the fonts and everything. And we're going to talk more about that later. But for the most part, many printers now, you have to ask your printer, like not my machine on my desk, by the way, not that printer. I'm talking about you send it to a printer, a person that's the business is to print things, okay? That you're going to get back printed brochures, that kind of thing. That's what I mean, a printer. Most of the times they're just asking you for a PDF right now, which is good and bad, because if they're asking you for a PDF, then that means that if something went wrong in here, if something was not correct, they can't fix anything. That PDF is fixed in stone. And if they go ahead and run it, you get 10,000 books with a mistake. If you have a high-end printing process job and you sent them the whole package, then you can say, wait, stop. We saw a typo. Can you go in and fix that typo before you run it? And they can fix it because they actually have the InDesign file. You know what I mean? So they can still work on the file and do corrections at the last minute. But if it's a, you know, digital printer, or your business cards or whatever, you're just sending them this one, you're going to get whatever you send them. But this is the actual file that you're going to send. Then you don't need to send everything else because everything is embedded in this one file, your PDF. Okay. So that's the package. You're kind of ready to go. You archive it. You keep it in some other hard drive or folder where you keep all your past done jobs and you forget about it. But you need to know that if you keep it here and you also keep all of these files here, now you've got a duplicate of everything in your computer. And if space is a premium and you never need this photo anymore, then why bother? You can delete it now safely. And why can you delete it safely? Because for the document that you're going to use, it's already been happily copied in there. Okay. But if the next time you open a file, the one that you open is the the practice file, place links, or whatever you called it, and you deleted the links that went to it, this one now will be missing its stuff. So if you're done with the job, the recommendation is to delete all the other stuff so that you don't then keep wondering which is the correct one, right? That's just a practical matter. On the other hand, if this is a photo that you're going to use 10 other times for other projects, don't delete them. Just know that it's only the things that you'll never use again that you need to just keep in that folder, and you don't need to have it anymore. Let me finish this off so that we can go. I don't want this to be saved. If you don't want this to be saved, before you close it, you can still head over to the history. And if you click on this thing, it goes back to being what it used to be. But the moment you close this file that has been saved and flattened, you will never be able to go back on history, because when this file opens up again, it is painted pink and yellow and green. You cannot recover. Okay, so big crucial point of things that you change is that you can always, no matter how many layers, 2,500 layers or 20 hours, the one option you always have is to go back here and start from all over. You might not be able to go back if you have many steps, but that might help you. And then you save again. And this is the original file without any of all the bizarre changes that you made.
So
And
if you save it back as the original, it's not going to change it in that document we used it in.
well, not in the packaged one. I'm going to do that now.
Okay.
I'm going to bring it back to 0. Everyone do that. Save it, Command S or Control S, whatever you need. Now, this one, okay, is going to be changing in the design document that I just opened. In fact, here it is. Here's my oops, you made a change, right? So I click on it and I get back to having the old one. But remember, this is not the valid one anymore, because when I packaged this, the packaged version still has the pink and blue and green and whatever photo. Because remember, I have duplicated this file now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This one is not the one I put in the package. In the package, they created a save as. They copied this one, they copied all the links, and the package has all new versions of this. So if I were to open the InDesign from the package, right now it would still be green and blue or whatever. Versus this one, I can keep changing. I can delete a file. I can say, I don't want that. I want this. I want to put this one there. I keep changing it. But be aware that if I do that, then the package now is not updated, right? And if I need to send this now to the printer, then I need to kind of save over that package and create a new package with the new stuff. Does that make sense, you guys?
Mhm.
All right, so that's kind of all these linked files, how to collect them into it. More importantly, had we written something, then when we make a package, then if we had made a little text in here, then it would have also saved a text file. But this is all we need to know for today. And I have a class starting in now 40 minutes because I went over. So I got to finish too. So let's just close everything up. And we will start next week by creating actually a document. Oh, I forgot to tell you to do screenshots. So if you can still open them and do some screenshots, that would be really helpful.
For everything, or for only the InDesign?
Well, right now, most of the InDesign, the Photoshop, if you still have the one with colors, you can do that. You can head over, because I should have had you, in Photoshop, you can still go back here and get this weirdly colored one if you want. That would be fine. But in InDesign, since you've already updated it, you can't really unupdate it. The undo wouldn't unupdate it. So just do a screenshot of this, right? So Shift, Command, and 4, and then post it. And well, actually, I need to have the links open, because remember, this is what I kind of want to see, all the link content and that kind of stuff. And then that's it. And then ideally, if you can go to Bridge and do a double click and do a little screenshot of your link, of your new package over here, that would be fine too. Since it's after the end of class right now, I know that we just need to go. So I'm just kind of saying these things, but I do need to actually go. So that's all I'm going to have you do right now. And I'm going to close everything up. And I'm going to exit and quit. But I wanted to show, for those of you who have VDI, again, that when you close and quit everything, which is what I'm about to do, you also need to leave the Google Drive. That's all. So I'm closing everything and save changes to this one. No, that was just a sample one. Close that. And then if I can't, I'm sorry, I have 6 things to close because I have all the versions in each one of these. So I have the 3 photos open in InDesign and the 3 photos open in Bridge. And that's why it's taking me forever to close all my stuff. But the main thing I wanted to do is for VDI people is go up here and disconnect from Google Drive. Okay, so head over to the gears, preferences, and then gears again, and disconnect account. Say disconnect. And now you're ready to completely disconnect. I just don't want people to forget that. That step is crucial. All right, and then I'm going to go down to power and shut down. And then I'm going to go back to this little last guy and log out from there. All right. I'm going to stop my share. And okay, I'll see you guys next week.
Thank you.
Bye, Corey.
Bye.